It really wouldn't matter, would it?
He stood up from the table. Cassio King was an intimidating man. All of Luciano's friends were. Their vast resources could easily make Ella and I disappear, and nobody would ask questions. Well, except my fucking uncle, or Benito King. We were cash cows to them.
Because you and your friend already made up your mind.
He concluded. He was right, of course. We didn't trust any of them after Luciano's betrayal. Massimo's, too. They treated us without any regard for our safety and well-being. Luciano stopped his friend.
Grace, like I told you yesterday, let me help you.
Russian roulette.
You betrayed me.
Those words from that winter evening rang in my ears. Click. Then you should have left us in Italy. I muttered, without meeting their eyes. Instead, I focused on my son.
Thank you for dinner, Mr. Vitale.
Cassio commented to Nonno, changing the focus of the conversation.
Luciano, Mrs. Vitale.
He purposely called me that. I knew it. It was a reminder there was no escaping this life. Once you were born into it or married into it, you were in it for life. Till death do us part. But what if I had no choice and was forced into it? Does it still count? Our rushed wedding flashed in my mind. The bedroom door rattles with the force of Luciano's fists.
Grace, you fucking open this door or I will tear it down.
His voice was cold and threatening. I knew it wasn't an empty threat, but did my mind or body care? Nope, it didn't. My body caved into his touch every time, and my mind rebelled and fought him at every angle. Like some damn foreplay. No!
Grace.
One word. The meaning behind his calm voice more threatening than all the actual threats he could ever utter. I don't want to marry you, I muttered, frazzled. The ceremony had started, but I refused to leave the room. After the makeup artist and the dressmaker got me all ready, they gave me a few minutes before the ceremony. Instead of working on calming my nerves, I locked the door and then barricaded it with the dresser. I was surprised nobody below me could hear the loud, screeching noise of the dresser legs against the hardwood floor. There was so much racket. I was sure someone would barge through the door at any moment.
Open the fucking door.
No!
You better step away from that door, Grace.
Whatever, dude. Who did he think he was?
I'm shooting the door.
Wait, what?
Make sure you are away from the door. I don't want to shoot my bride on our wedding day.
His tone was mocking but serious. Who in the hell was this asshole? Wait! I yelled out. Wait! I put all my strength into pushing against the heavy mahogany dresser. Fuck, it was lighter on the way to the door, I muttered to myself.
Hurry the fuck up.
His tone was impatient, demanding. Buy lighter furniture next time, jerk. I barely pushed it a foot to the left of the door. I couldn't get it all the way back. Maybe I exhausted all my strength while I pushed it over to the door.
Grace?
I quickly unlocked the door. I swung it open and stepped aside. Jesus, dude, learn some patience. Luciano Vitale in a tux was a breathtaking sight. I have seen plenty of men clean up in a tux, but this man, he made the tux look good. If GQ magazine could snap his photo and plaster it on their pages, these tuxedos would sell out in the shortest millisecond of the century. My breath stuck in my lungs, and the most stupid thought stuck in my mind. Dying, while staring at his beautiful face, wouldn't be such a terrible thing. What a dumb thought, but it still remained.
Not dude. Your soon-to-be husband.
The anger on his face quickly extinguished as his eyes roamed my body. Despite the fact this wedding was thrown together at the last minute, I had to admit, the dress was exquisite, and the makeup done to my face was minimal and only accented my unusual eyes and soft lips. The wedding dress was made out of a swath of white satin. It fit perfectly against my body, accenting every curve. The Swarovski crystals sewn into the bodice glimmered under the lights, accenting my breasts and pale neckline. The long train flared behind me for 2 feet. I wasn't thin and have never been overly athletic, but the way this dress fit made me feel like the most beautiful woman in the world.
Your hair looks like flames against the satin of that dress.
The tone of his voice surprised me. Instead of mock disdain or anger, it almost sounded awed or reverent. It's bad luck to see the bride before the ceremony. I didn't know what else to say. The way he looked at me made every single inch of me tremble with anticipation. I was tempted to ask him to tear the dress off me and ravish me right here and now.
Let's go get married.
We were doomed from the moment we said I do. Yes, I'd held on to hope and fell head over heels for him, but he certainly didn't fall for me. Otherwise, he would have trusted me. He would have known that I would have never betrayed him. I couldn't give someone my body, heart, and soul, and then go betray them the next minute.
Remember our talk, Gracie.
Nonno's voice stopped the trip down memory lane.
You are strong.
After dinner was done, Matteo demanded Luciano give him a bath. While it was a nice break, I felt a bit slighted. I sat on the floor watching Luciano give our son a bath. He was making a mess of it, but I had to give it to him. He was dedicated to it. Then I knew that about my husband. When he decided on something, he put all his energy into it. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing his strong forearms. Black ink snaked from his wrist up his forearms, and I knew it covered his entire arm. He must be working out a lot, because his muscles were toned and strong. I imagined his shirt sliding off his back and tracing my fingers over each muscle on his back. His skin would be warm to my touch. It was always warm to my touch, like a burning heater.
Grace.
Luciano's voice pulled me from my lusted mind, back to reality. I met his eyes. That gaze used to make me so weak in my knees. I would have done anything for this man. Instead, his ruthlessness and distrust burned it all to ashes. Well, except this damn desire of mine. But I could blame that on my abstinence. All we had done last night apparently didn't sate my lust for this man.
So, yes?
He asked, and I wondered what he was talking about. Yes, what?
You agree to accompany me?
I frowned. To what? What the hell was he talking about?
I have an event tomorrow night. Do you agree to accompany me?
What event?
Just an appearance in the city at the fundraiser.
I laughed. You, at a fundraiser? I retorted sarcastically. What are you raising money for? Guns? Drugs? He didn't like it. I saw I hit a sore subject. But that was good. I didn't care about his hurt feelings. I had to remember who he was.
No. It is a fundraiser for victims of trafficking.
Now that surprised me.
Cassio and I run it, but all the men you met are on the board, including Rafael Santos.
My eyes flashed to him. He just confirmed my prior suspicion that my uncle lost his Florida connection.
Rafael took over for his father and has a different approach to human trafficking. His brother-in-law and half-sister will be there.
How nice. A freaking mobster gathering. So they can make themselves feel better. No, I won't go with you.
Why not?
Because I don't want to. What kind of stupid question was that? Besides, I have plans.
What plans?
None of your business, I retorted dryly.
Because you were scared to be alone with me? We had a good time yesterday.
I sat up straight. Maybe, but you tried to kill me 3 years ago. I hissed under my tone. Don't think I'd ever forget you'd just as easily kill me as you'd take me to bed. We stared at each other, hate and bitterness mixed with flames of lust flowing through my veins.
Mama?
Mateo's voice pulled my gaze away from the husband I wished I had never run into again. I couldn't say that I wished I never met him because, unbeknownst to him, he gave me Mateo, my biggest treasure. Yes, baby.
Bene?
Yes, I told him. Okay, let's get out of the bath. We have just enough time to get dressed, brush teeth, and read a quick bedtime story. It was on the tip of my tongue to tell Luciano to go, to dismiss him. I don't need him around, making me wish for things that could never be.
Okay, Mateo.
Luciano spoke before I had a chance to open my mouth.
I'll help you out.
You don't have to, I objected, hoping he'd get the hint and leave. I got it. But it was too late. Mateo was already under Luciano's spell.
Both read books.
I gritted my teeth. We did a quick job of drying him off, getting him dressed, brushing his teeth, and then tucking him into bed. Just like my parents used to do it with me. It felt like a real family moment. Mateo patted a spot next to him at each side of the bed, demanding we both lay next to him. Okay, which book? I asked my son, my throat slightly strained from emotions. The truth was, I wanted a real family, a husband that loved me, children running around our home, grandparents that cherished them. I wanted it all. Though I was more likely to get to the moon than get any of it.
Fiaba?
He demanded. Well, buddy, Luciano can read you a fiaba. I'll read you Green Eggs and Ham. I handed Luciano one of the fairy tales in Italian. You first. He started reading without objections, but something in his eyes unsettled me. The burn in his gaze, the intensity. It made my insides melt, made my body react, and it was infuriating. He read in his deep voice, Italian words rolling off his tongue effortlessly. There was something so damn gut-wrenching in this moment. A clear picture of what could have been and what would never be. It made me furious at the destiny that wouldn't let me have it. It made me furious with this man that took it all away. It made me furious that despite it all, my body still reacted to him. And most of all, I hated myself for still wanting my own fairy tale.
Grace.
Luciano's voice was a soft whisper. I was so deep in my thoughts, his voice startled me.
He's asleep.
My gaze traveled to our son in between us, and then shifted to my husband. I watched those hazel eyes. God help me. I wanted him. Even after everything, I wanted him. I couldn't let him destroy me. I barely pulled through the last time. A child growing inside me was my saving grace. What would it be if I let him pull me into his charms again? I broke our eye contact and gently lifted off the bed. Luciano followed suit. The moment I closed the door to Mateo's room behind me, Luciano spoke.
The event tomorrow.
No. I cut him off. I am not going with you. Heartbeat of silence.
Your uncle will be there.
I whirled around, chest to chest, toe to toe. Why didn't you say that earlier? I watched my husband for many traces of deceit. I couldn't gauge whether he spoke the truth or not. How in the hell did my uncle end up invited to an event that would fund the survivors of the very atrocities he and Benito King supported? Was it all a fake front? And why would you have my uncle be a part of your event? I thought you hated his guts.
I do.
I eyed him suspiciously, waiting for his elaboration. It never came.
The Romano family will pay for their sins, Grace.
Luciano didn't have scruples when going after what he wanted, or destroying people in his path. I should know firsthand. A pang in my chest. I ignored it. What is the dress code? I haven't decided whether I'd go, though an idea formed in my mind. It might be easier to handle my family if I handled my grandmother alone and then took care of my uncle, once and for all.
I'll send something to her room tomorrow.
He replied. His expression was unreadable, but I felt like he was a cat that just ate the mouse, and I was the mouse. Let him believe that. I wouldn't be anyone's pawn anymore, not for my husband, not for my uncle, not for my grandmother. This time, I would look out for my son, Ella, and myself, because nobody else would. I nodded and went to walk away from him when his hand wrapped around my wrist.
Where are you going?
To bed, Luciano. He chuckled. That bastard actually chuckled.
I'm happy to hear that.
His head lowered and his mouth brushed lightly across the skin on the crook of my neck, sending shivers down my spine. Even as I tried to lie to myself, saying I didn't want to do this, my head tilted to accommodate him better. Obviously, I was a bad liar.
Sleep in our room again.
He murmured, his hot breath burning my skin. I shouldn't cave in. I was quickly falling for him again, just as easily as last time.
Don't fight me on this anymore. Please.
My eyes flared to his face. Coming from a man that never begged, never asked, only demanded. So I caved again. Damn this man. For making me weak, stupid, and all kinds of wrong things. I should fight him, resist him. But the only feeling that lingered was the need for him. My hands raised up, fingers pushed through his hair, and I gripped his soft strands. I wasn't sure whether I was trying to punish him or hold on to sanity. Both of our sanities. Because this lust and desire shouldn't burn between us like the infernos of hell. He must have sensed my internal battle because he sealed his mouth over mine, more like crashed against my lips, kissing me with reckless desperation, the same one I felt burning in the pit of my stomach. He didn't wait for the welcome. His tongue pushed against my lips and conquered. I molded into his body, desperate for his touch, clawing at his scalp. God, this man would be my demise. No, not would be. He is my demise.
I will never have enough of you, wife.
His voice was low, husky, desire laced in every word. The way he watched me, the primal need in his hazel eyes consumed every single shivering breath and fiber within me. His hands snaked down to my butt and grabbed my ass, lifting me up. Without breaking the kiss, my legs hooked around his waist, grinding against him. This need coursing through my body would burn me to ashes. Maybe it would be a welcomed relief. His mouth was searing my skin. Everywhere his lips touched, he marked me. My mouth and hands were hungry for every inch of him. With each swipe of his tongue, he ignited my desire to a whole new level. From the corner of my mind, I registered he was in our bedroom. Yes, our bedroom. Because there hasn't been anyone else for me before him nor after him. The door shut behind us with a loud slam, and he lowered me onto the floor.
Undress,
he commanded, his voice hoarse. The passion in his eyes had me instantly obeying him, because I wanted to shed my clothes off, feel his skin against mine. Our eyes locked. Looking at him was like looking at my own dark prince. Passionate, unforgiving, ruthless. I lifted my emerald shirt off. A long time ago, Luciano told me he loved me in anything colored green. He loved the contrast of my hair color against the green. Passion and ivy, he said. Did I subconsciously pick it for my husband? My white snug jeans followed. The entire time he watched me with hunger in his eyes. His gaze trailed over my body, each lingering look caressing my exposed skin. My bra and panties were next, and his ominous gaze turned dark with want and need while he soaked in the view of my naked body. "Your turn," I rasped, my breathing erratic. It didn't escape me how easily I succumbed to this man. What the fuck ever. I was a weak woman. He stripped out of his own clothes, fast and efficiently. My mouth watered at seeing him naked, every damn time. I loved his body, cut from marble, ripped and chiseled to perfection. My husband was a devastatingly beautiful man.
On the bed.
His order had me quivering with anticipation. Without hesitation, I climbed onto his California king bed. He hadn't even touched me yet, and I felt the trickle of desire running down my inner thigh. Watching him through hooded lids, he moved onto the bed like a predator stalking his prey. I am his prey. Willing prey, it would seem. He had stalked me for the last 3 years. He hovered over me, his knees parting my legs wider. As his eyes zeroed in on my pussy, there was no hiding my body's reaction to him. The desire glistening between my thighs was all the evidence he needed. I was eager to have him inside me.
So fucking beautiful,
He croaked, his hand on his cock, stroking himself. There was no glee or mocking in his voice, only reverence. Every fiber of me melted for him. I arched my back, telling him without words I needed him inside me.
I'm going to fuck you until the entire house, entire city, hears you scream my name.
The words affected me, making me a slave for his touch and his claim. He rubbed himself against my entrance, toying with me, teasing me. My nipples were so tight that they ached, needing him to bite down on the sensitive skin to release this tension. "Please, Luciano." He was driving me insane with this burning need licking every inch of my skin. I thrust my hips up with desperation, uncaring that I seemed greedy and desperate for him. He didn't seem to notice or care, though, because the next instant, with one hard thrust, he pushed all the way in, filling me to the hilt. I sucked in a breath as sensations rippled through me. This was my utter submission. I was his. I had always been his. Luciano's face morphed into one of utter possession.
You are mine, wife.
He gritted as he pulled out and thrust back in.
Every breath you take,
He growled as he pushed back in.
is mine, and I'm yours.
His grip on my hips tightened, his fingers digging into my flesh. It was a delicious kind of pain. I leaned up and took his lips into a kiss. His strokes, initially measured and leisurely, started increasing in speed. And then he started moving relentlessly, like a possessed man. My nails scraped down his back, encouraging him, begging him to fuck me harder, deeper, merciless and ruthless. I dug my nails into his back, my eyelids closed, focused only on the pleasure he was giving me. More. I pleaded. Harder. His movements became harder, ruthless. He was rutting me with quick, deep thrusts, and stars swirled behind my eyelids.
Open your eyes.
He grunted his demand. I barely peeled my eyelids, meeting his lust-crazed gaze. I felt like I was coming unglued, blinded by the pleasure he was offering me.
I want you to see who's fucking you.
He drove deeply into me. Yes, yes, yes. More. I begged through broken moans, my head whipping from side to side.
Mine to fuck.
Thrust.
Mine to break.
Thrust.
Mine to save.
My body was climbing higher and higher with each erratic, hard pound of his. Incoherent words left my lips, my mind completely lost to the extreme pleasure my husband was offering.
You are fucking mine.
The pleasure burst through my veins, and I felt myself spiraling off the edge into a million pieces. The orgasm shook my inner core, my pussy clenching around his cock, milking him for everything. He continued to move, thrusting through my orgasm, thrusting once, twice, till his body tensed as he groaned his own release. We remained like that, both of us panting heavily as we slowly came down off our heights. His head rested against the crook of my neck. Unspoken words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. I have never gotten over Luciano Vitale. My husband, my demise. My heart pounded against my chest, and I feared he'd somehow hear the whispers of my heart, confessing to my husband I never got over him, that I still loved him. I was doomed. If his gun against my skull didn't squash these feelings of love, I wasn't sure what would. It was just past midnight, and my bare feet made no sound against the marble floor. I wore nothing but my panties and Luciano's dress shirt that came down to my knees. There was something comforting about the familiar citrusy, woodsy smell of it brushing against my skin. I headed downstairs to the pool area where I told Ella to meet me. The moment I stepped outside, the cool September air hit my flushed face. For a moment, I halted my step, closed my eyes, and listened to the stillness of the night while the air cooled my hot skin. If only I could freeze time and leave us in this cocoon. It might not be a realistic cocoon, but it was better than the reality. I opened my eyes and noted Ella already seated by the pool, waiting for me, her small frame sitting on the edge of the pool with her feet dangling off of it. "Hey," I greeted her and sat down next to her, mirroring her position. Throwing me a side glance, she gave me a small smile. "You look like you tumbled through the bed sheets with a certain husband of yours." Her shoulder nudged me lightly, her tone teasing. I rolled my eyes. "Didn't you tell me to take advantage of the fact that I was under the same roof as him?" A soft chuckle escaped her. "I sure did, although I didn't think you'd take my advice." It wasn't my intention to take her advice, but it seemed I was a weak woman when it came to my husband. We sat in silence, both of our eyes lingering on the surface of the pool. The darkness of the night that surrounded us reflected our fears. "What did you find?" I finally asked. "Your uncle and Benito King have now put a price on our heads, so other mobsters within their approved circles would help locate us." Boom bum, boom bum, boom bum. I knew it was coming. From the moment we stepped foot on U.S. soil, it was only a matter of time, seconds, minutes, days, not months. I always knew we didn't have months. But damn it, hope was a bitch, a heartless bitch. And even now, it glowed in the dark like a fucking lightning bug, always a hopeful lightning bug. It would be squashed, either by the ruthless mobsters or by cruel reality. "We'll have to run without Mateo," I whispered, and those words physically hurt my chest. Both of us threw a glance up at the marble facade of Luciano's mansion. "Tomorrow, after my grandmother's event, we kill her, then kill my uncle, and we run." One heartbeat of deadly, earth-shattering silence that tore at both of our souls. "God, Grace, do you think we could bring the—" She cut herself off. "No, we can't," I muttered. It killed me to say that, but this was the safest place for Mateo. If we pulled through, and if it ever became safe for us, I'd come back for him. Even knowing I was doing the right thing by my son, it shattered me to walk away. I had to do it. But every ounce of my being as his mother objected to it. Are you okay? Yes. I wasn't, but that didn't matter. Surviving this, protecting Matteo was what mattered the most. They won't give up till they have us. I'd failed. I should have hunted down my uncle, grandmother, and Benito King and killed them all. Instead of our petty attempts at diminishing Romano wealth, we should have spent the last 3 years planning how to hunt them down and kill them. But we pretended they forgot about us, thinking we could live the rest of our lives in hiding. It was an illusion of safety we fooled ourselves into. Now, they were after us even more relentlessly. Our fan list keeps growing, Ella muttered. She was scared, as she should be. I was terrified. I swallowed hard. I knew what I had to do, but my heart twisted in agony with the thought of it. Tomorrow, I'd leave Matteo behind. Shit, that hurts. It was the right thing to do, but it hurt so badly. I didn't know how I'd survive it. He was my entire life. Ella and I locked eyes, and my heart bled. Are you sure you want to come along, Ella? Yes. My debt remains unpaid to your uncle and the King family. If I stay, Matteo is at risk. Okay. My voice was hoarse. I knew her heart was breaking too. She fell for Massimo. I fell for my husband again. This life was a damn cluster. What happened to a simple life with a white picket fence? Oh, yeah. It was interrupted by some ancient agreement by my ancestors to provide a bell for fucking mobsters. Monsters, more like it. God, I didn't know if I could survive life without my son in it. Matteo was forever a part of my DNA, and we would leave it all behind. The only semblance of family we had. At the gala, we kill my grandmother. I whispered low, ignoring the dull ache in my heart that would soon be the only thing left to feel. Then we go to Luciano's fundraiser and corner my uncle. Once they are dead, Matteo is safe from my family, and the two of us will run. I took a deep breath in and slowly exhaled. Luciano wants me to go with him to his fundraiser. I'll tell him we'll meet him there. It will be our only chance to get close to him. She swallowed hard, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I know it's the best we can do, but I wish we could kill Benito and Marco King too. I wished it too. It would be suicide, I whispered. We are way out of our element. And that was an understatement. Yes, we learned how to hack. Yes, we laundered dirty money. We learned how to shoot a gun, but we were at least smart enough to realize when we were outmuscled.
What are my favorite ladies doing up in the middle of the night?
Nano's voice startled us, and both of us jumped out of fright. My hand on my chest tried to calm my racing heart. Giving Ella a side glance, I nodded. We'd be ready to run tomorrow night, after we killed my grandmother and uncle. She lifted herself onto her feet, and I followed suit. Nonno was too old to try and sit down at the edge of the pool. Good night, Nonno, she muttered, and leaned over to place a kiss onto his wrinkled cheek. It was her goodbye. She left us both behind as she went into the house. We both have jet lag, I answered his earlier question. We couldn't sleep. My lies were bitter. Matteo had a good time at the beach. It was my attempt to change the course of our discussion.
He is a good boy,
he murmured, smiling. Talking about him always made him smile. At least Nonno loved him. Even not knowing Matteo was a Vitale, both Luciano and Nonno were good to him. Once they got their confirmation, I knew without a doubt Matteo would be loved and protected. Nonno loved him already. Nonno, can you promise me something?
What's that, daughter?
My throat was squeezing, making it hard to speak. If something happens to me, keep Matteo safe. His sharp inhale lingered in the air. You and Luciano keep him safe. Please.
What is it, Grace?
His hand took mine, and I looked at the old man. It was ironic that my life was connected to his even before my parents died, and I never knew it. Until that night, when Luciano dragged me out of his nightclub and right down the aisle, I never even knew of this man that was supposed to be my guardian. My life would have been so different if he had been. Promise me. Please. I begged in a whisper.
I promise.
Thank you. I leaned over and kissed his other cheek. This man has always been good to me. No matter what happened, he would keep his word. I strode toward the house, leaving him behind. I headed back into my husband's bed. It would be our last night together. Before going to Luciano's bedroom, I stopped by Matteo's room. He was fast asleep, his feet dangling off the bed. Leaning over him, I placed a kiss onto his forehead. He had my heart from the first time I felt him move inside me. And once he was born, I was completely in love. Luciano's and my son. A product of a bitter revenge, but the best outcome, regardless of the heartache that would follow when I walked away, leaving my heart behind. Different scenarios played in my mind, trying to find a safe alternative that would make it safe to bring him along. I couldn't see any. Luciano would keep him safe. My husband was a lot of things, but one thing he excelled at was protecting his family, and Matteo was his family, his flesh and blood. I felt that familiar tingling down my spine, and I knew Luciano was right behind me. My eyes lingered on my son's face, trying to memorize each line. He was a part of me, and the thought of living on without him was tearing my soul to shreds. I was literally falling apart on the inside, and I marveled that on the outside I seemed put together. I stood up, Luciano's chest right behind me. I leaned back into my husband's hard chest, and his arms wrapped around me. I allowed myself this weakness for the last time. These memories might be the only thing that would make the lonely future bearable. Maybe another life, another time we could have had a chance.
He's a sound sleeper.
Luciano's hot breath burned my skin, sending shivers and regret through my body.
Like his mother.
That was pretty much one of the very few things he got from me. In every other way, he was like his father. I relished in Luciano's body heat, knowing that the rest of my life, however long it would be spent cold and alone. Ella had fallen for Massimo. She would have her own wounds to lick. I took my husband's hand and pulled him out of Matteo's room. I kept walking towards my husband's bedroom, Luciano's footsteps right behind me. Neither one of us said a word. Tonight would be for us. For me. The bedroom door shut behind us with a soft click. I turned to face this man. He was so much taller than me. I lifted my face to study his features. Matteo would grow up to look like him. I had no doubt about that. And I'm going to miss it all. The thought sent sobs up my throat, but I choked them down. I fought my attraction and my love for this man for so long. Even after he pulled that trigger against my temple, I still loved him. And I hated myself because I loved him. But now it was different. He was different. I was definitely different. Unlike the earlier passion, now I wanted to savor the moment. These last few hours before dawn, tomorrow, I'd leave them all behind. I lifted on my toes and reached for his lips, those sinful lips that could send my body into flames, those lips that could send my heart to fluttering heights and shatter it into pieces. I grazed my teeth across his lower lip, brushing my tongue right behind. His tongue pushed into my mouth, conquering like he always had. He didn't need to conquer what was already his, but I couldn't tell him those words. Instead, I would show him. I pressed my soft body against his hard one, my hands wrapped around the nape of his neck, my fingers tangling into his thick, dark hair.
Wife,
He murmured against my lips, both of our breathing labored.
what are you doing to me?
He had on jeans and an unbuttoned white shirt. He must have pulled them on when he went searching for me. Or maybe he had some business to take care of. It didn't matter. Pushing his shirt off his shoulders, I let it fall soundlessly onto the floor and his magnificent chest on full display. I pressed a kiss to his lips and closed my eyes, savoring the taste of him, committing it to memory. His heart jackhammered under my touch, matching my own pulse. Nobody before him ever compared, and there would be nobody after him, ever. I trailed my lips over his tanned olive skin, down his neck. My hands reached for his belt, my fingers fumbling with it and his jean buttons, eager to get rid of his clothes. Soon his pants followed the pile of clothes discarded on the floor. I continued the trail down his chiseled abs. He might have been 40, much older than me, but nobody could deny Luciano had the body of a god. I nudged him backwards. With each step he took, I took a step forward till we were against the bed. Sit down, I told him, my voice barely above a whisper. I lowered myself down on my knees, hitting the plush of the carpet. Nudging in between his spread knees, I vowed to myself tonight I'd bring him to his knees. My parting gift, I thought, slightly bitter. My husband's grip moved to my neck, gently squeezing, reflecting his dominance and possession over me. I didn't care. Truth of the matter was I belonged to him. I'd admit it to myself. I licked my lips, my heart thundered hard against my chest, threatening to explode. Tonight would be our last night. I kept my eyes on his as I leaned in, taking the head of his cock between my lips, his taste on my tongue, a familiarity I missed.
Fuck.
He groaned, his hand fisted into my hair as I circled the head of his cock with my tongue. His legs spread wider to make more room for me, and I broke our eye contact to lick him from base to tip, resulting in another tortured groan from him. Luciano might own me, but I owned him too. I circled the head of his cock again and again, flicking my tongue at the clear pre-cum that beaded on the tip, humming my approval. He tasted delicious. My eyes raised to meet his hazel possessive gaze again. I ran my tongue around the head before sucking all of him into my mouth, taking him deep down my throat. His head fell back.
That's it, my love.
Heat bloomed between my legs at his praise, the wetness slicking my thighs at seeing him at my mercy. My breasts rubbed against his thighs, the thin shirt material in the way, although sparks of pleasure fluttered through me. I sucked him hard, gliding in and out. The way he tasted was my aphrodisiac. The ache between my legs pulsed with the need for him, but I ignored it. His hand grabbed onto a fistful of my hair and moved my head, controlling the rhythm, up and down, deep into my mouth. Our eyes never wavered from each other. He watched me with a half-lidded gaze. He pushed himself deep into my throat, and I moaned with his cock inside my mouth. With a groan, he pulled me away from him.
Naked. Now.
His demand was a grunt, his voice hoarse. I stood up and slipped his shirt off, and my panties followed. I stood naked in front of him.
Get on the bed,
he hissed, while his gaze burned hot on me. A soft chuckle left me, despite my heart that hurt in my chest. This seems like déjà vu. Even before I finished my statement, I followed his order, climbing over the bed, my butt on full display, when his palm connected with my butt cheek. Smack. Hey, I protested, but there was no heat to it. I glanced at him over my shoulder and wiggled my butt at him. Smack. Damn it. I fucking liked it. His palms ran up my legs. The roughness of his hands felt good against my soft skin. The anticipation made my stomach tighten, my body greedy for more of him. His thumbs lingered close to my ass, pressing into my inner thigh, and I slightly parted them, pushing into his touch. I was wet for him, the trickle of my arousal trailing down. I felt his thumbs smear it against my skin, igniting a spark in the pit of my stomach. In a sudden movement, he flipped me onto my back, my head hitting the pillows, my hair spreading across it. The heat in his gaze was raw, unadulterated. My pulse raced in anticipation. He crawled over me, then yanked me closer by the back of my neck until my chest was against his.
You are mine, Grace.
He growled into my ear.
You've been mine from the moment you took your first breath, and you'll be mine when you take your last breath.
And then he nipped my neck, marking me. My initial whimper turned into a moan as his mouth tracked down my body, licking, kissing, nibbling, and setting off fireworks all throughout my body. He sucked a nipple into his mouth, and my back arched off the bed. Sparks ignited through my veins, the flames igniting and spreading like wildfire. Luciano. I breathed, his name a raspy whisper on my lips. Then he lowered himself down my body, positioning himself between my spread thighs and buried his face between my legs, then shoved his tongue deep inside me. My back arched off the sheets and I cried out while my fingers fisted the sheets. My body shuddered under the heat of his tongue, and a rush of pleasure flooded me. He made a low hum, like he was enjoying the best cognac or dessert. It vibrated through every single inch of me. Both his hands pushed under my ass, and he lifted my hips, his fingers digging into the soft flesh of my ass as he fucked me with his tongue. It was as if he needed me on his tongue, something reverent in the way he was devouring me. Oh my God, I moaned, digging my hands into his thick, dark hair, his name slipping from my lips as his tongue swirled over my clit before sucking. Luciano, I breathed. More. Oh God, please. His deep noises as he devoured me drove me crazy with lust. I peeled my eyes open and met his smoldering gaze, burning me with his own heat. He watched me as he lapped me steadily, fingering me faster and harder until I was wanton putty under his touch. In and out, in and out. Loud moans echoed through the silence of the night as I rocked my hips against his face shamelessly. His one hand reached up and pinched my swollen clit, then immediately brushed his tongue over it. Fuck. Pleasure rippled through me, my core shaking as my husband continued lapping at me hungrily, making soft noises of approval. He continued sucking on my clit, then pushed his finger inside me as his other hand reached up my body and pinched one of my nipples. It was too much. It wasn't enough. His stubble scratched my inner thighs, his teeth grazing over my clit, and a scream clawed its way out of my throat as an orgasm rippled through me. I writhed against his mouth as raw pleasure shook my body and small sobs of relief rang in our bedroom. The pulsing, throbbing need for him was still here. He rose to his knees, his chin wet from my juices. His mouth took mine in a hard, possessive kiss, our tongues tangling as I tasted myself on his lips. I need you inside me. I pleaded against his lips, opening my legs wider. His eyes flared with heat. His body covered mine, making my skin burn for him. He kissed my neck as he braced his hands on either side of my head. My hands slid down his back, his muscles hard under my fingertips. There were so many words on the tip of my tongue. I wanted to tell him I loved him. I craved him. I need you, I begged, my body pushing up as he positioned himself at my entrance. He stroked his cock up and down my slit, nudging forward. My fingers trailed down to his abs, then snaked around his back as my lips sought out his mouth. In one forceful thrust, he filled me to the hilt, burying himself deep inside me. His mouth swallowed my scream, and then he started to fuck me hard, driving deep, his hips working like pistons. His grunts of pleasure matched mine, my body opened to him, letting him lay claim. I loved feeling him inside me, like fitting a last piece of the puzzle. His weight on me comforting, he fucked hard, dominating me, breaking me with each thrust. I surrendered my body, heart, and soul to him. I buried my face in his neck, inhaling his unique masculine scent, committing it to memory for all the lonely nights that would come. I was so close. His shuddering grunts told me he was close too.
I love you, Grace.
He groaned hoarsely, and it sent me tumbling over the edge, my body convulsing around him, and at the same time my heart leapt into the clouds, recognizing his words. The pleasure consumed every fiber of me as I bucked underneath him, as I sucked hard on the pulse pounding in the side of his neck. He didn't falter, but kept thrusting hard through my clenching pussy as the orgasm shook me to my core. My head was spinning, my heart was breaking, and my body was crashing.
My wife. My life.
He rasped, and he shuddered, his final thrust deep before he stilled and spilled inside me. His breathing ragged, his chest rose and fell with each breath, and I listened to his breathing as everything around us stilled. My hands wrapped around him, holding on to him for the last time, tears prickling behind my closed eyelids, and I didn't dare move or risk breaking down into a full-blown sobbing. 3 years ago, I told my husband I loved him, and he sent me away. Today he gave me those same words, and I would run away.
Chapter 21. Luciano. How is it going with your wife? Cassio questioned me. After getting his shipment back yesterday and our dinner, we all went our own ways. We had legitimate businesses to run, and not so legitimate ones. More importantly, I wanted to work on my marriage to Grace, as well as getting a security detail to keep her protected from Marco King and her family. My eyes have been locked on the view outside my window, where Grace played with Matteo and Ella in the pool. She didn't know I was back home. Her carefree laugh carried through the open window, and I watched her hold Matteo by his waist, teaching him to swim. My father, Matteo, and Grace spent yesterday afternoon at the beach. When they got back, they both decided it was time for Matteo to learn how to swim. Hence today, Grace, Ella, and my father dedicated all their day to swimming lessons.
You are doing it!
Her happy voice carried through the breeze amidst the water splashing.
Good job, baby.
Si, Matteo. Good job. My father commended him as he watched the entire scene with a smile on his lips. Since Grace came back, he had been rejuvenated. He spent every waking moment with them. I wanted to spend every waking moment with them too, but there was so much shit happening right now. Grace wore a white two-piece bathing suit in the old-fashioned style. It wasn't revealing, but it made her look hot as fuck. I thought back to 2 nights ago and our ride back home. There was no resentment in her eyes after our desperate tumble in the car, but unlike in the past, she retreated. Once we came back from our high, she cleaned herself up and sat back into her seat. I could sense the invisible walls she immediately raised around herself. Same happened when I brought her home, and then again last night after we put Matteo to bed. But I could be patient. I will be patient. She would be worth every minute of waiting. When we finally got back home that night, I beat down Ian at the club. I took my wife to my bed. Correction, our bed. She slept in our bed in my arms, reluctantly, but she did. The next morning, she was gone even before I woke up. Same happened after our last night's tangle between the sheets. This morning, I woke up to an empty bed. Luciano? Cassio's voice reminded me of his question. We both had drinks in our hands. It was late afternoon, and my wife succeeded in avoiding me most of today and yesterday. We had a lot to talk about, figure out, but the only time we found each other was at night. It didn't help that I had to deal with shit. So I was in and out of the house. Nico flew back to Baltimore last night. He had something urgent going on and a shipment to take care of. Alessio went back to Canada to handle his father's funeral, and he would have his hands full for a while, I was sure. Alessio's father was a bastard, and there'd be no love lost between my friend and him, especially knowing what this sick old man did. Yes, his father ruled the Montreal Mafia, but only in name, until now. Alessandro Russo was the Mafia head of the Canadian East Coast as far as anyone was concerned. So it left Cassio, Luca, and me to deal with everything, with Raphael's help. The Romano family was hosting their annual gala. Neither Cassio nor I RSVP'd, but we intended to make an unexpected appearance. Right after our fundraiser. Grace never confirmed that she'd accompany me to my fundraiser event, but it was a custom for the wife to accompany the husband to the fundraiser. My mother never missed a single one while she was alive, always on my father's arm. Now that my wife was back, I wanted her on my arm, although she kept resisting her wifely duties, well, except in the bedroom. Last night, when I went searching for her and found her in Matteo's room, I had the oddest feeling she was saying goodbye. Even when we went back to our bedroom, every touch felt like a goodbye. It had to be my paranoia, because Grace would give her life for her son. She'd never leave him behind. One thing was for sure, though. Something shifted between me and my wife last night, albeit I wasn't sure if it shifted in the right direction. "It's going great," I muttered in response to Cassio's question and gulped the drink down. "That good, huh?" I couldn't fool anyone. Even a blind man could see Grace hated my guts, resented me. Yes, her body melted under me, but that was as far as it went. Her body responded to me, but her walls were strongholds keeping me away. She avoided me at every turn. She cleared the room before I even had a chance to open my mouth. We lived in the same house, but you'd think we lived in different states as little as we talked. "Have you tried talking to her?" Cassio asked the obvious. I shot him a glare. "And say what? Let's start over?" He observed me pensively. "Well, you could start with that. Right. And knowing all you do, would you start over? Well, first of all, I know the entire story and know that gun was empty. She doesn't. If I didn't know it, I'd tell you to give it up, and you have no chance with her. As it stands, I think you have a real chance. I poured myself another glass. I've done some fucked up shit over the last 3 years. Those first few months after she left me, I was on a rampage. I tried to take many women to bed, desperate to get Grace out of my system. I was so fucked I couldn't ever take it all the way. It was all wrong with every single one of them. I couldn't even get hard for them. They smelled wrong, felt wrong, looked wrong. They were all wrong. After 3 months, I realized I was doomed. There wouldn't be a woman ever to capture me the way my wife did. But she was out of my reach, disappeared without a trace. Obviously, Grace had men too. She had no issues taking it all the way. After all, she got knocked up. Jealousy burned through my veins that she'd care about another man so much to have his child. When we got married, she insisted on not having children. It would seem she just didn't want them with me. Who was the father? I already had Massimo digging for a name. The girl's passports and Matteo's were all fake, high-quality fake passports. Could we somehow overcome the fact that I put a gun to my wife's head although it was empty? Would she ever forgive me that I left her at her uncle's doorstep like a stray dog? That I tried to fuck a number of faceless, nameless women trying to get over her? Could I get over the fact she had another man's baby? These were some large obstacles, not to mention the trust issues we both had. Did you get the name of the kid's father yet? Cassio's question pulled me out of my 1,000 questions. What makes you think I'm looking for a name? He laughed. I know you, Luciano. You are digging for that shit like your life depends on it. I took a deep breath. There was no sense in denying it. So far, nothing. Those two did a good job covering their trails and paperwork. In fact, I'd like to know how in the world they knew how to get fake passports and documentation. Whoever they used for it did a good job hiding their shit. Cassio studied me, like there was something on his mind. If you want to say something, just spit the shit out. I'm not in the mood for guessing games, Cassio. I have enough of that going on with my wife. Both Cassio and I were already dressed in our tuxedos for tonight's fundraiser. Of course, we both carried concealed weapons under our jackets. We would not be caught unaware. You never knew when the shadows of our enemies were ready to strike. Just look at my mother and sister. My father thought he was safe, and the one time he didn't have a weapon on him, our enemy struck. He's a good-looking kid. I didn't expect him to say that at all. Kind of looks like you. A bitter laugh escaped me. Now you're just being a fucking asshole. He shrugged his shoulders. I've always been an asshole. Probably why we get along so great. He was right, too. I'm just saying, the boy looks like you. He seems to be the right age, too. I stared at him, dumbfounded. There was no freaking way that little boy was mine. Yes, he was a good-looking kid. I liked him. But she would have told me if she was pregnant. She would have said something when I threatened to shoot her. Fuck, that sounded so bad. It was an empty gun, yes, but it didn't make it better. She would have said something. I justified, my voice hollow. Would she have told me? The memory of that day has haunted me every day and night since. Her tear-stained face, her trembling bottom lip, fear on her face that I put there. She told me she loved me, but I was so enraged with her betrayal, I didn't even process her words. I didn't listen. The words didn't hit home till much later, when I sat alone back home, in the dark of our bedroom. It was the only time she had mentioned words of love to me. She begged me to listen to her. Last night, I gave her those same words. She didn't reciprocate them. Although I felt something shift between us, I wasn't entirely sure if it was for the better or worse. "If you think so," Cassio retorted, but it was written all over his face. He didn't think she would have told me. When was the boy turning 3? October. Yes, she said it was mid-October. I glanced up to gaze over to the pool area. Mateo and Grace were out of the pool now. He jumped excitedly, Grace and my father sharing a big smile while Ella recorded it all. Like a real happy family moment. Without me. "Mateo, my boy," I heard my father's voice. "You're going to grow up to be strong like your papa." With a startling realization, it became apparent my father saw something I was blind to all along. Now it made sense why my father was so taken with Mateo. Even his name was a clue. She named him after my father. "I can't jump to conclusions," I murmured, speaking more to myself than my best friend. "I'll have to get the original birth certificate." "Have Massimo get in touch with my guy," Cassio commented. "I swear, Luciano, you are the smartest, most brilliant man I know. But when it comes to your woman, you are blind as fuck." Funny. My father said the same thing. How much did I really know about my wife? She studied music in college, played piano, and spent her high school years away in boarding school. She met Ella there, her first year of high school. They have been close ever since, and the last few years on the run made them even closer. But my wife never really told me much about herself. She knew about her parents' will, but never mentioned it to me. I could have gotten it when we got married. She must have known her uncle was a danger to her, but she never led me to believe she was afraid of her family. Now I learned she was the ghost. Of course she wouldn't share that with me either. Did she know she corresponded with me? Probably not. Let's get back to the business and our plan for tonight. I had to focus on eliminating threats that lurked in the shadows of my wife's life. Agreed. By the way, did you ask your father about his connection to Kennedy Romano? I did. That was another thing that irked me. The fact my father kept that large piece of detail a secret. My father never kept secrets between us, and this one was pretty big. Kennedy Romano and my father crossed paths when Kennedy went after his brother and Benito. They both wanted to reveal to the world that his brother and grandmother had their hands into human trafficking. He said they became good friends and worked together against them. Right before he died, Kennedy Romano asked him if he would take care of his daughter in the event anything happened to him and his wife. Papa agreed. 2 days later, they were both dead. He said he fought Alfonso for guardianship of Grace, but failed. Since then, he kept an eye on her whenever he could. Did they die before or after your mother and sister? Her folks died a few months before. Is there a connection? If there is one, my father didn't bring it up. Although I had to admit it, there seemed to be a lot of connections between Grace's family and mine, even without taking our marriage into account. The timing of Alfonso coming after my father, killing my mother and sister is dangerously close to the timing of her parents' death. I think you were right, Cassio agreed. Grace's value to Alfonso was big enough for him to kill and go after the Vitale family if your father tried to get Grace under his protection. Just think, she was the promised belle worth millions from her mother's side, and combine that with her pedigree and beauty? He didn't have to finish. My wife suffered under her family's brutality just as mine did. Yes, Grace and I had to talk. lay it all out on the table and fight them together. I couldn't fault her for her distrust. I earned it. But I'd prove it to her, over and over again for the rest of our lives, that she could count on me. The next hour was spent strategizing the best way to hit Alfonso Romano and Benito King. We would see Alfonso tonight, but the venue was too public, and without risking Benito King's retaliation, we wouldn't be able to hit without a cause. Alfonso will know today that Raphael's deal with him was a trap, I told Cassio. He might attack first, so we have to be prepared. It will be a perfect excuse to kill him. I'm counting on it, Cassio muttered. He was just as eager as I was to start eliminating threats. Have you warned Alexei and Vasily? The Nikolaev men were more than capable of protecting themselves and their family, but advance warning never hurt anyone. I'd hate to see Alfonso or Benito try to get the women. Vasily will burn down the world if anyone ever touches his pregnant wife. Not that I blamed him. Yes, I sent them the status. They'll be there at the fundraiser. Vasily's wife insisted. She has the scary fucker wrapped around her little finger. We both grinned. Vasily and his brothers were a special kind of breed. It was almost comical seeing them cave to a woman's request. Probably as comical as seeing me lose my shit over my own wife. Movement outside had me glancing to the French doors. Grace and Ella stood outside, all dolled up. There was no mistaking they were going out. My wife wore a black, strapless gown, accenting her soft curves, and it made my cock jump. Each step she took, slits of her dress revealed her long legs. Her heels peeked underneath her long dress, and I noticed they were nude color. She never liked matching her shoes to dress color. I still remember her reasoning.
It makes it stand out when my shoes are a different color from the dress.
Her ginger hair, stark against the dress, was pulled up in a slick high ponytail, exposing her graceful neck and slim shoulders. She was ready for the fundraiser event, although it was too early and she wasn't wearing the dress I sent for her. Admittedly, this looked beautiful on her, so there would be no complaints from me. There would be the men I'd have to fight to ensure nobody touched her. Pride swelled inside my chest. It made me want to shout to the world that she was my woman, have it blasted across every billboard in the city and surrounding states. I was surprised she didn't resist going. I almost expected and readied for bickering, like our own little foreplay. Without thinking twice, I strode to the French doors and opened them wide. Tesoro, you look stunning, I complimented her. She whipped around, her violet blue eyes capturing me in their depths, making me feel like I was drowning. There were so many layers and depths to my woman. Her cheeks blushed pink and reminded me of how she looked in the heat of passion, flushed and perfect. I had to stop thinking about that. Otherwise, I'd get a major case of blue balls. We have another few hours before we leave for the fundraiser, I added. She cleared her throat. It was her telltale of nervousness.
I have something else I have to take care of before your fundraiser.
What? I questioned her. The briefest glances between her and Ella told me something was going on.
Just some business.
Her voice was calm, but the graceful movement of her neck as she swallowed told me she wasn't calm. In fact, she was the exact opposite. Rattled, nervous, almost scared. I told myself not to lose my shit, to keep my temper under control, keep a lid on my jealousy, and I fucking lost. I always fucking lost around my wife. I wanted her everything, and it made me blind as fuck, just like my father and Cassio claimed. What kind of fucking business are you doing dressed like that? I acted like a damn jackass, startling Grace, but she quickly got herself together.
I didn't know you were back home,
she answered in a soft voice, avoiding answering my question. Fuck. She could read a damn recipe of chopped livers in her soft voice, and I'd get a hard-on. I sure am. Now, where are you going?
Out. For. Business.
I gritted my teeth, hating the idea of any man seeing her dressed hot like this, or even worse, touching her. What fucking business? Shouldn't you stay home with the baby? It pissed me off to think of her going anywhere without me. Besides, we are driving to the fundraiser together. Her delicate eyebrows frowned.
Nonno is watching Matteo, and I'll meet you at the venue. I have to take care of something.
Who are you going with? I hissed, jealousy eating at me. She rolled her eyes at me. Did you just—
Yes, Luciano. Yes, I did. I just rolled my eyes at you.
Annoyance on her face and her voice portrayed agitation. But there was something else there too I couldn't decipher.
As you can see, Ella and I are busy. We will meet you at your venue if we can. Text me the address. And now, go get a damn life and stay the hell out of mine.
I'm your husband, I spat out.
Jesus. I wish you'd stop saying that. Like it will make me do whatever you want me to do. We are pretty much separated.
She accented the word.
On our way to an annulment. You know the definition of annulment. Marriage never happened. So please, for the love of God, stop saying that you are my husband.
She turned her back to leave when I grabbed her forearm, getting into her face. You can't go out looking like that, I growled low.
You just said I looked stunning. What is your problem, Luciano?
She hissed.
Just because you dragged me back to get what you wanted, it doesn't mean my life stops. I have things to take care of. So please, don't make this more difficult.
What things? The moment I asked, I could see on her face she regretted her words.
Let go of me, Luciano.
She tugged on her arm, trying to get the grip loosened. Her skin flushed and there was a hint of panic in her eyes. Where?
Where what?
Where are you going?
None of your business.
One of my drivers will take you.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. End of discussion. Otherwise, you are going nowhere. I have had enough of her rebellion. I won't have anything happen to you while you are under my roof. She threw her head back and laughed, although there was no amusement in it.
Seriously?
She asked.
There are so many words I could say right now, but unfortunately I have no time. Fine. I'll take your damn car, Luciano.
She pulled her arm out of my hold and strode away from me like a queen doing a catwalk. Fuck, she was sexy. A chuckle interrupted my longing stare after my wife, and my head snapped to my best friend. Luciano, that woman is your vice. Shut up, fucker. Another chuckle. Just you wait. You'll get it back. By now, Grace disappeared from my view. I fucking hated that she didn't trust me, that she kept secrets from me. I wanted to help her. Yes, I fucked up big time. My wife and I had to sit down and have a talk, starting with the way our marriage commenced. At least she took my driver, and she wouldn't be wide open. I would find out where he took them and send someone to keep an eye on her. Besides, Cassio, aren't you scheming for your woman? I decided to taunt my best friend, and I needed to relieve some of my frustration. How is that going? His face darkened. Fucker, I chuckled. Don't like it when the tables are turned, do you? I joked bitterly. He flipped me a bird, but his expression was still dark. Anything I can do to help? I asked sincerely, hoping his life wouldn't become a major cluster like mine was. Thank you, but no, he muttered. You have enough on your plate. That might be true, but I'd like to see my best friend finally get the family he wanted. There was one thing all of us had in common: thirst for a family. I was lucky with my parents and seeing the love they shared. I always knew eventually I'd want the same. My friends weren't as lucky. Cassio and Luca's father caused their mother's death. Nico's mother was a major alcoholic. Alessio's father was a sick, perverted predator. Well, my offer stands, I told him. Any time, anywhere. He nodded. Likewise, he offered, and no other words were needed. Cassio and I continued our plans. The fundraiser would start in 2 hours. Vasily would meet us there along with his wife and Alexei. The latter used to work with Cassio and I, a damn good enforcer. He could hunt down anyone, anywhere. When you hired Alexei, you knew without a doubt the hunted was dead. If only Alexei was still open for hire. The door to my office burst open, and Massimo ran in. Both Cassio and I turned our eyes to him in alarm. What is it? Massimo looked disheveled, shaken. Where are the women? They left about an hour ago. Fuck! His eyes darted like he was hoping by some miracle they'd reappear. Dread pulled in my stomach. Speak now. Those two, he searched for words. They're going to get themselves killed. What the fuck are you talking about? Massimo rushed to my comm system and hooked it up. Roberto has been deleting surveillance footage. It's been him all along. What the fuck was he talking about? Massimo, you are not making any sense, I barked out. He picked up the remote and turned around to face us. It was Roberto that betrayed our location 3 years ago. Acid burned in my veins, fury feeding it with rage. Ever since Grace got back, he has been deleting snaps of surveillance. He's been working with the Romano and King family. Cassio and I shared a glance. How do you know? I inquired. Roberto has been working for me for 13 years. He had never betrayed us before. Why 3 years ago? Why now? He's Alfonso's son, he hissed. His fucking son. Are you sure? Cassio and I asked at the same moment. He would pay. I would make him pay. Yes, I'm sure. Massimo pushed his hand through his hair, making it an even bigger mess. Grace and Ella discovered Alfonso had a kid. They had been digging, trying to find leverage against Alfonso, but they didn't have any clues. No gender, no woman in Alfonso's past, nothing. I thought he's playing for the other team, I commented. He does. His relationship with Ian Laszlo is a long one. He impregnated a woman through in vitro fertilization. One of the kidnapped women. He wanted to make sure not to have a girl and was desperate for a descendant, his descendant, to the Romano line. Are you sure it is Roberto? Yes, I located the records, he muttered. Roberto's mother was killed after she gave birth, but her mother, Roberto's grandmother, lived to tell the tale. Why do you say that they will get themselves killed? Cassio inquired. Are they going after Roberto? No, after Sofia Romano and Alfonso. Neither Grace nor Ella are killers, he muttered frantically. I have the surveillance that Roberto wiped out 3 years ago. When Grace's stuff came back, the chip we installed on her was among her stuff. By sheer luck, I decided to check it out. Play the footage. The fury was arctic cold in my veins. Her uncle's voice came through the speaker. I told you Luciano was bad news, Grace. Her uncle scolded her. He was trying to use you to destroy the Romano legacy. Grace remained quiet. I wish we had a video surveillance of this, so I could see her face. Pull yourself together. I don't want your face all puffy.
Yes.
Fuck. My heart hurt at hearing her voice. I did that to her. Don't worry. Belle of the season. You'll annul your marriage. A few months and you'll never remember him. What I have in store for you, you'll have a better criminal in your bed. Romano bells are a highly sought-after commodity. Silence.
Fuck you, Uncle.
A loud slap sounded through, followed by a low whimper that almost sounded like a wounded animal. That fucking bastard hit her. He was dead. I couldn't wait to kill him. "Don't tell me you're crying for that piece of shit," her uncle mocked in a taunting voice. I didn't deserve her. Grace should have gotten so much better than me, but she was my wife. It was time we made the responsible people pay. It was never my wife's burden to bear. I learned that fucking lesson now. I just had to convince her to give us a chance. In the meantime, I'd burn down every single person that ever hurt her. I didn't give a shit if I did it in open retaliation. Fucking bastards deserved it.
No, Uncle. Can I go to my room?
Might as well. You will be useless today. Tomorrow, I expect you to look your best. Footsteps echoed and the door closed. Then sobs broke through the audio. Hearing Grace cry felt like multiple stabs into my heart. A knock on the door, and crying immediately stopped.
Just a minute.
Shuffling, and then the door opening.
Ella, what are you doing here? I have to tell you something. Can it wait? It's not the best time. Your uncle plans on taking us both tomorrow. Tomorrow?
I wondered what they were talking about. Take her where?
They expect to sell us tomorrow. The auction is tomorrow. No.
I could hear the terror in her voice.
Are you sure? Yes.
Another stretch of silence before Ella's shaking voice came through.
Could your husband help?
A pang in my heart. Grace needed me, and I wasn't there. Damn it, she needed me, and I failed her.
No, I think we're on our own. But he married you. It was about revenge. I don't know all the details, but it doesn't matter anymore. He thinks I betrayed him. About what? About some location he told me about. Did you? No.
Grace's voice sounded tired.
I think it's Roberto. I saw him with Uncle once, but it was a few years back when I was a kid. It was so long ago, a few months before Mom and Dad died. I caught my uncle threatening Mom backstage in her dressing room. I didn't know who he was and didn't understand the words.
She let out a bitter laugh.
I certainly understand them now.
My chest squeezed. It wasn't Grace.
We could call him and tell him.
Ella's voice sounded hopeful. Another stretch of silence.
It doesn't matter, Ella. I'm leaving anyhow.
There was some noise and a crash. I shared a glance with Massimo.
Are you sick? No. Oh my God, Grace. Are you?
Retching sounds came through, followed by throwing up. Confusion hit me. Was she sick?
Are you pregnant? I'm done, Ella.
Grace's voice shook. I was the worst bastard. There was my confirmation that Mateo was mine. No wonder she hated my guts. She should. I wouldn't blame her if she killed me. I would let her too.
I'm done being everyone's pawn. I'm leaving tonight. But your uncle will have me killed one way or the other. He already controls my inheritance, and that's not enough for him. He's going to sell us. We have to run. Does Luciano know about the pregnancy?
A bitter laugh came through the air.
I was going to tell him at dinner. You could call him. I never want to see him again. As far as I'm concerned, they can all kill each other. I'm leaving and never looking back. Are you sure? Absolutely. Your uncle and the king's family will hunt us relentlessly. That's why it has to be tonight.
Another stretch of silence.
I could take the first flight out to Europe, any other continent but here. I'm coming with you then.
A soft gasp.
Are you sure? Yes. I am not okay with being sold to settle my parents' agreement either. It will be easier if we are together. Ella, you have to leave it all behind. There isn't much to leave, is there? Your whole life, phones, clothes, everything. Why do we have to leave our phones behind? I learned from my dear husband that burner phones are better, harder to trace. Okay, phones left behind. I need to get to my uncle's safe. He has some cash stashed in there. Do you know the code? I think so. Luciano had a passport with a fake name done for me. It is still in my purse. Won't he know if we travel under his fake passport? Yes, but my uncle won't. The moment we get to Europe, I'll ditch it and we can make new identification. Do you have yours? Yeah, I've been going around with my fake passport for a week. You used that same contact of Luciano's I gave you? Yes. Good. Then let's steal some of my cash and get the fuck away from everyone.
Grace never betrayed me. Mateo was mine. I hurt my wife and could have cost my own son his life. Fuck, Cassio muttered. Yes, fuck. This next one is from 2 days ago and has a video along with the audio. It was from Ella's room. I had surveillance installed throughout the house until I was able to hack their phones. I didn't bother checking it once I had hacked into their phones. Roberto didn't know about any of the installs I've done or upgrades I made. Thank fuck. He switched the USB. I installed the tracing in the surveillance room, throughout the house, and a separate code on the software. I used whatever Ella and Grace had been using. That fucking Roberto has been the culprit all along. Massimo pushed a hand through his hair. Watch this. Massimo turned the large screen on, and the two best friends showed up on the screen. Both of them had tumbled hair, sitting on the bed in Ella's room.
I thought of something.
Grace told Ella. It must have been the morning she slept in my room. She wore one of my shirts that came down to her knees. She was only 5'4", and although my shirt hung too big on her, it made her look like mine. Not like she was mine. Ella must have worn Massimo's shirt. I guess she was his.
What? My grandmother usually holds her annual gala every year. What if we made an appearance there? My uncle usually never misses it.
I frowned. That was today. What are those two up to?
Yeah, I remember. But what good would that do? We could take him and her down there.
They stared at each other, and I wondered what they were thinking.
I'll do it.
Grace spoke softly.
But that's not going to fix our problem in full, though. What do you mean? Even with them gone, that agreement of selling me still stands. It has been standing for centuries. Same is true for your parents' agreement for you. My uncle might have ruined your family, but he sold that agreement to Benito King. What are you saying, Grace? We have to kill all the kings.
Cassio laughed, and my head snapped to him. It wasn't funny. I didn't want my wife anywhere near Marco and Benito King. You have to admire a wife, Cassio murmured, a small smile still on his face. She has guts. Didn't I know it?
Are you suicidal?
Ella raised her voice slightly.
We'd have to kill them all at the same time, otherwise they'll hunt us down. They know how to hunt and kill, we don't. And Grace, they wouldn't just kill us. I know, but what other way could we ensure they never got their hands on us?
I watched Grace take a deep breath and then exhale.
Gabriella, if they get their hands on us, we are dead anyhow. Fuck. What about Cassio and Luca King?
Ella questioned.
What about them? Well, they are kings too.
Grace's delicate brows scrunched, as if she was debating whether she would kill him too.
I don't know. They are Benito King's sons, but it is like they don't know anything about all this. We should probably kill them too.
Cassio chuckled and tried to quickly cover it with a cough. He failed.
What if they are innocent?
Ella questioned, her face full of fear.
And what if they aren't, Ella?
Did I do this to my wife? Did my actions force her to consider killing? I could see it clear as day on her face. She didn't like the idea of killing.
They seem close friends with your husband.
Ella murmured.
And those 5 men, including your husband, I don't think we are a match for them. I know. What do we do if they decide to enforce the agreement? They are the kings, after all. Jesus, we had dinner with them. So we should let them kill us because we had dinner with them? That's not what I'm saying. Maybe we should consider they might not be connected to their father. I mean, you grew up under your uncle and have no connection to him. Maybe they are similar. Fine, I'll give you this one. Can you hack into their communication and see what the deal is with them? I don't think we are a match for Cassio and Luca King anyhow. If their relationship with their father is similar to mine with my uncle, we'll let them live.
Ella chuckled, although it was strained.
I swear, woman, you sound bloodthirsty, and we haven't even killed a single person yet.
There was one thing clear. These 2 Bells would take shit from no mobster or any man for that matter. They would fight tooth and nail to keep their freedom and choice. Of course, they shouldn't have to fight for it.
I don't really like the idea of killing anyone, but I really don't want to be sold to some criminal. I can tell,
Ella told her.
You are still trying to get over your current one.
Ella thought my wife was still into me. All of a sudden, I liked my wife's friend very much.
I am totally over the current one. Right. What does that mean? Why don't you just admit you're not over him? I am. No, you are not. Maybe your husband is not over you either. Now you're just talking stupid. He was never into me, so there is nothing for him to get over. Right, that's why he beat Ian like some madman in the middle of a nightclub. Why are we talking about him? We have this life and death situation over our heads, and we're debating whether Luciano is or isn't into me. When we are dead, do you really think in the grand scheme of things it will matter? So, you think we won't get out of this alive? We'll damn well try. Gabriella, what the fuck is the matter? Well, I kind of want to get out of it alive. I like Massimo, like a lot. I know you don't like him. I don't like Luciano for what he did to you, but I'm willing to give him a chance. Could you do the same for Massimo?
She pushed her hands through that gorgeous hair, resignation all over her face.
Sure, Ella. You know I love you, and I want you to be happy. However, I'm not asking you to give Luciano a chance. Both of those assholes pointed their guns at me. Besides, thinking about Massimo while we have the King family hunting us, along with the Romano family, isn't the right thing to do right now. I know, but I'm tired of running. And I just know it will be worse this time. It was hard watching you last time, and your pregnancy was what helped us both get through it. It was the only thing that drove us. What will we have this time? We can't bring Matteo along. It's too risky. Luciano will make sure he is safe. You have everything ready, so he knows Matteo is his.
My wife nodded, but no other words left her lips. I immediately called up my driver. "Bring my wife and her friend back," I barked the moment he answered. "Sir, they had me drop them off 10 miles from the house." Fury at Grace's recklessness and stubbornness irked my nerves. I hung up without another word and turned to Massimo. "Track their location." I might have sent her back into the viper's nest 3 years ago, but damn if I'd let her go back into it now.
Chapter 22. Grace. Thank you, I said to the Uber driver. I knew Luciano wanted us to take his driver, so he knew our whereabouts. If Ella and I failed, I couldn't risk any of what we were about to do to be pinned on Luciano, for Matteo's sake. The likelihood of Ella and I killing Benito King were slim to none. If we succeeded with our plan, we'd run again. Somewhere the King family couldn't find us and sell us like stock. But first, I'd make my uncle and grandmother pay for everything. Needless to say, we haven't made it to Luciano's fundraiser yet. If my uncle was there, it would be easier to handle my grandmother alone. She wouldn't expect it, so we might have the element of surprise. Getting rid of one, then the other, might be our only way. My 5-inch Louis Vuittons hit the pavement as we exited the car. The large wedding cake-style marble steps opened a magnificent view to a large mansion, the Romano mansion that had been in my father's family for centuries. But I had never stepped foot in till I was 12, after my uncle murdered my parents. Taking one step at a time, Ella and I slowly made our way up to the entrance where the old butler awaited all guests. If he recognized me, he hid it well.
Good evening.
He greeted us. I nodded without a word.
The ballroom is straight ahead, and take the second double-door entrance on the left.
I didn't bother telling him I knew where it was. Ella and I both did. When her parents were killed by my uncle's actions, he only took her in so he could protect his investment. He would make money off her, one way or the other. We continued on, our heels slapping loudly against the marble floors. Although there was a party in full swing, it felt eerie, the echoes of our heels rattling my nerves. We paused at the entrance of the ballroom, my nerves teetering on the edge. The glitzy, flashy ballroom of my ancestors' estate disguised all kinds of ugly. The wealth of the Romano family was made on the blood and tears of innocent women. I understood why my parents wanted nothing to do with my father's family. The knowledge of how they made their money tainted every single thing in its vicinity. The room got a few notches quieter, the air just a bit more tense. Or maybe it was just me. My grandmother always made me feel small, unworthy. She hated me as much as she hated my mother, blaming her for taking her firstborn from her. She blamed my mother for my father abandoning the family when it was her filth that made him turn his back on the Romano name. I'm your grandmother, Sophia Romano. I had never known my father's family was alive. Neither one of my parents mentioned it. This woman didn't even come to the funeral. Should I hug her? I wondered. I took a tentative step when her voice stopped me. You are a firstborn female, and the only female born to the Romano family line. I didn't understand the words nor the meaning behind her words. My eyebrows crunched in confusion, staring at the woman that stared at me with distaste. What have I ever done to this woman? My hands clenched around the book I held. It was actually an album with my parents' pictures, the only object I brought along. They forbid me to bring anything, not even my clothes. You look more like your mother than my Kennedy. My grandmother's dark eyes flashed with cruelty and hate. But you'll make a good belle for a mobster when you come of age. I wrapped both hands around my album, pressing it against my aching heart. I didn't understand what this woman was saying, but if Grandma and Grandpa Astor were still alive, I'd live with them. But they died last year, and now I lost my parents. It felt like I lost all my family, to be left alone in this world. A single lonely tear rolled down my face. I had cried many of those since my parents died, and the ache never eased. Wipe that shit off your face, girl. My grandmother smirked. I just needed my own room so I could hide and look at the photos of my mom and dad. It would ease the sting to think about our happy times, just Think about happy times, my mother always said. As if my grandmother read my thoughts, her eyes lowered to my chest where I gripped the album like my life depended on it. "What is that?" she questioned. "A book. Technically not a lie." A slap across my cheek had my head whipping to the left, a burning sting flaming across my right cheek. "Don't ever lie to me again, girl." I swallowed hard, a terror settling into my bones. I had never been hit before. "Give it to me." "No." My voice was small but firm. "Don't ever let them clip your wings, Grace." My mother's words were still with me. Did she know this was going to happen? She took a step forward, and instinctively I took one back. But not fast enough. Her cold hands grabbed the collar of my dress, and a shredding sound tore through the front of the driveway. From the corner of my eye, I spotted ravens. Their cawing sound rattled me to my bones, and I was just as frightened as they were by this human. The loud, spooky blackbirds flew away, leaving me alone with the stranger in nothing more than my underwear. I gripped the book, covering my chest, and I felt my lower lip tremble, threatening violent sobs to let loose. I bit hard to keep any sounds from coming out. "The book." Her wrinkled hand extended. She tapped her foot impatiently. "No." Stubbornness was one of my weaknesses. It was something my mother and father always told me. My grandmother shifted her gaze behind me. "Take her to her room." One of the housekeepers gently nudged me, and I followed her into the house with a relieved breath. My body shivered as I followed the maid's rushed steps, whether because of cold or fear, I wasn't sure. This place would never be home. I knew it the moment I stepped my foot through the door. 2 days later, I found my album burning in the fireplace, and along with it, every single happy piece of my childhood. I straightened and raised my chin, shoving all my fears into a dark corner of my mind. We could do this. Ella and I didn't survive the last 3 years to cower now. "Ready?" Ella whispered next to me. "No, but we'll get it done anyhow," I murmured under my breath. I strode through the room like I owned it, placing a smile on my face.
"Ah, Miss Romano. So nice to see you."
It was my grandmother's bodyguard, Charles. He knew very well I was married.
"It's Mrs. Vitale."
Luciano's voice came behind me, startling me. They must have taken a direct route to my grandmother's to get here so quickly. I glanced behind me to find him with Cassio, Nico, Massimo, and Luca. There was also a couple, and a man I hadn't seen before. I should have objected to Luciano's interruptions, but I was glad to see him there. He was the lesser of two evils. Charles ignored him.
"Your grandmother will be pleased to see you."
He strode away, and I exhaled a breath I didn't realize I was holding.
"Fancy seeing you here, wife."
"Why?" I retorted back. "After all, I used to live here, remember?" They were the worst years of my life, but no sense dwelling on that now. My eyes traveled over the group. "And you all are here. Why?" I questioned them with a raised eyebrow. All of them watched me, like they were debating whose side I was on. My son's side, my side, Ella's side. I'd ensure we'd get out of this alive. Somehow. My eyes traveled to a young woman and her companions. It was obvious those three came together. Her dark hair and brown eyes complemented their blonde features. It was an odd contrast, but it worked in their favor. My eyes traveled over her slim features, and I only now noticed she was pregnant. The swell of her belly attractively accented her soft features. She looked small, too frail and short next to the two tall and stocky men. They both looked like some damn MMA fighters, their large frames towering over the woman. Those two men had to be brothers with the eyes they shared, the palest blue eyes I had ever seen. Even their facial structure was similar. She held hands with one of them, leading me to believe they were an item. And the way that guy held her protectively told me he'd kill anyone that even dared look at her wrong. The other man stood on the other side of her, but unlike the other guy that only had tattoos on his hands, this guy was all tatted up. He even had tattoos on his face. In fact, every visible inch of his skin displayed striking and beautiful ink. He looked scary and beautiful at the same time.
Grace, this is Vasily Nikolaev and his wife Isabella. They live in New Orleans.
Oh, another mobster. I should have known.
And Alexei Nikolaev is Isabella's brother.
I frowned. Incest? Shit. Did I say that out loud? The tattooed guy growled, and instinctively I took a step backward, right into the hard marble chest of my husband.
No, not incest.
The beautiful, face-tattooed guy answered darkly.
Isabella and I are half-siblings by my mother. Alexei and I share a father.
Vasily deadpanned. At least he wasn't growling at me.
It's a bit complicated.
Yeah. Family tends to be pretty damn complicated, I muttered. Alexei nodded, as if agreeing. I wondered what their story was. I bet they didn't have some historical agreement of selling their daughters hanging over their necks. My eyes indulged, traveling over his ink and inventorying each visible tattoo. From the ones on his face, the ink peeking above his starched white dress shirt, down to his tattooed hands and knuckles. Fuck, he was beautiful. I never cared much for tattoos until Luciano, but this man took ink to a whole new level. The ink on this man, it packaged the cruelty etched in his face, the art and ruthlessness, into one fine, deadly specimen. Grace, you have come back. The interruption came in the form of my grandmother's cold voice. My mouth pressed into a thin line, and something in Alexei's eyes told me he understood exactly where I was coming from. My heart rate sped up, and anxiety kicked up a notch, but I kept it hidden. After all, I got really good at hiding my emotions since I started living under my grandmother's roof. She offered me her cheek to kiss in greeting. I leaned in stiffly to kiss the offering, and felt like Judas, because I came to kill her. But I remembered the lesson well from the last time when I refused to kiss her cheek. She starved me for 2 days. It wasn't something easily forgotten. Grandma, I murmured. I see you are still hanging out with the riffraff. Her eyes traveled over Luciano and his friends, and ended with Ella. Her lips pursed at the sight of my best friend. I thought you left your husband, my little Belle. Don't let her taunt you. Don't let her taunt you. The words played on repeat in my brain. She purposely called me that, reminding me that my only worth was to the Romano legacy. Well, I didn't give a fuck about the Romano legacy. A hard gleam entered her eyes. She was hoping to get Luciano worked up. He kept his calm, although I felt more than saw him stiffen. Never looking his way, I answered, No, someone must have given you the wrong information about my marriage status. I kind of like being riffraff, so only appropriate I hang out with them. Don't you think so, grandmother? I wasn't a little girl anymore. I wouldn't take her mental beating, nor my uncle's physical abuse. She smiled, although it didn't reach her eyes. Will you play for us today, dear? No, your mother's piano is here. She cut me off as if I hadn't spoken. Tonight will be your last chance. We are getting rid of it. I blinked in confusion. But why? It was in my mom's family for centuries. It has no purpose here. We locked gazes, her dark black eyes staring me down, challenging me. Unlike my uncle, who didn't mind physical punishment, my grandmother preferred mental torture. I'll take it. The words escaped me before I thought better of them. She liked taking away everything I cared for or loved. Now that I expressed that I wanted it, she'd rather burn it to the ground than let me have it. You were always so sentimental, Grace. She mocked me. It will be your downfall. That piano is worthless, just like your little family. Unspoken threat. Unspoken humiliation. I took a step forward when I felt Ella's hand wrap around my upper arm. I envisioned myself wrapping my fingers around her neck and choking her to death. I wanted to kill that mean old witch. The only thing she was good at was bringing misery to people. Before I could think of a comeback, my husband stepped in.
You watch yourself, Sophia Romano.
Luciano got in her face, a menacing and ruthless mobster in full mode.
My wife might keep things civil for your party, but I won't have any qualms about ripping out your throat and seeing you choke on your own blood among your guests.
My grandmother didn't even bat an eyelash, but I did see her guards near her. Of course, she wasn't scared when she never fought her own battles. The piano is worthless, she continued, as if Luciano never spoke. You don't have a daughter, and won't have a chance to spawn another child. Luciano growled next to me, but I put my hand on his bicep, squeezing lightly. Truthfully, it belongs to me, grandmother. I spoke, seemingly calm, although every ounce of blood inside me boiled with fury. The interruption was welcome because it diverted her attention from Luciano to me. After all, my parents left it all to me, didn't they? To be turned over to you on your 25th birthday. Or when I got married. My lips curved into a fake smile. And I am married. I glanced sideways at my husband. Aren't I, darling?
We sure are married, tesoro.
Luciano smirked at my grandmother, his eyes shooting all kinds of menace her way. Go play one of those vulgar songs you like so much, she continued as she strode away, ignoring both of us. Say goodbye to your mother's legacy. The last heirloom and generation of the Astor family will soon be gone in ashes. I dug my fingernails into the palm of my hand, focusing on the pain to ground me. She wouldn't win. My uncle wouldn't win. The Astor legacy would never burn into ashes because Matteo was a part of me too. I turned my head towards my husband, locking eyes with Luciano. Call your father and tell him not to leave the house with Matteo. I spoke, low, my voice shaking. Without another word, I walked away from the group, my back stiff as I heard my grandmother make the announcement. I could feel his eyes, staring at me, even with my back to him. Oddly enough, it was comforting to know that my husband was here. It gave me the extra courage I needed. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. She greeted the audience. Grace Romano will be playing a piece for us tonight. I'm sure many of you have heard of her world-famous mother, Aria Astor, who captured the world with her voice as well as took my firstborn's heart. There was a double meaning to all her words. The blame she placed on my mother when in fact it was her own actions that cost her the firstborn. She lost her own son. Nobody else did that for her. Grace Vitale, I interrupted with a tight smile, speaking into the microphone to ensure everyone heard. Not Romano. Her beady, cruel eyes flashed to me with hatred, and I smiled. She would pay for her sins if it was the last thing I did before I died. Death of my grandmother and uncle would mean protection for Matteo, and for my son's safety, I'd sell my soul to the devil. It was the Romanos' turn to lose.
Chapter 23. Luciano. Grace paled at her grandmother's words, and it made me want to wrap my hand around that old witch's neck. I never liked Sophia Romano. She was a cruel and twisted old woman, but today I liked her even less. I quickly dialed up my father. When there was no answer, I called Lorenzo, my top guard. "Boss, any word on Roberto?" I asked. After we found out he was the traitor, I hired Sasha, Vasily's other brother, to find him and eliminate him. Sasha Nikolaev was good. Not as good as Alexei, but he would hunt that motherfucker down and put a sniper bullet into his skull. "No, but Sasha's on the trail." "Good. Tell my father not to leave the house with the boy. Keep security tight. If something happens, protect the boy and my father at all costs. I'll update you later." I hung up and saw my wife's step falter at her grandmother's announcement. I wished I knew what my wife's plan was. She wanted to kill them, I knew that. But she couldn't do that here, not in such a public place. Fuck it. I was done letting that fucking evil witch play with my wife's life. I took a step forward, ready to put a stop to it all.
Don't you dare move, Luciano.
My head snapped to Ella. Who in the fuck did she think she was?
You are going to get her killed,
she hissed. What the hell is going on here? I demanded in a low voice, keeping the anger from my expression.
Just don't do anything. Not right now,
Ella muttered, her eyes on Grace as she sat herself on the piano.
You almost cost her life once before. Don't repeat it.
What the hell are these two up to? Ella's gaze traveled behind me and I followed her gaze. Sophia's bodyguard was leering at her, and she visibly paled.
Just don't do anything now,
she whispered, and took a step backwards, her eyes locked on the bodyguard the entire time. Massimo must have seen the same, because he came behind Ella ready to protect her. What's the matter? I asked her. She shook her head, remaining numb and frozen. Nobody is getting to you or Grace. She swallowed hard, but something told me, just like my wife, she didn't believe it.
Just keep your eyes on her guards,
she uttered in a low voice. I noticed the Romano family had their men everywhere. It didn't matter because they were no match for us. Our men were also outside, and Rafael Santos wasn't far behind either. After we discovered Grace's plan, we diverted our plan from the fundraiser to here. We had one of our event managers step in for us. On the way here, Cassio gave a brief overview to the men so they understood what we were up against. At all costs, save Grace and Ella. I appreciated Vasily and Alexei coming along, though I was worried about Isabella Nikolaev being so close to the two men that almost kidnapped her. So was her husband because he kept his hand close to his weapon. Maybe we were all eager to end Alfonso and Benito once and for all. Criminals or not, we all wanted to enjoy our life. Benito King's associates were a different brand of criminals, more like psychopaths. I had to admit that I was surprised that Benito King wasn't here, considering the tight business relationship between the King and Romano family. The soft piano note sounded in the room, and Ella, along with everyone else, was forgotten behind me. Massimo would be at her back, protecting her. Vasily would protect his woman, and the rest of us were capable of standing on our own. The light tunes of Gnossian No. 1 played, the recognition immediate in my memory. How could I ever forget it? They were the same tunes she played that night during our short marriage, when the evening ended with me fucking her bent over my grand piano. Everyone's eyes were turned to Grace's form as she sat, her fingers drifting across the keys. I'd seen her play the piano only a handful of times. She loved it. The music was part of her. From those short months we had together and how she talked about music, I knew she loved it. But I never realized how much till just this moment. I watched my wife's face, mesmerized by her transformation. It was as if the whole world ceased to exist for her. Her fingers moved expertly across the piano. Her eyelids lowered, her expression distant and soft, like that of a woman dreaming of her lover, of the day she could hold him again. There was pain, love, softness, hope on her face. She was completely lost in the music.
Your wife plays beautifully, Luciano.
Vasily's wife, Isabella, whispered softly, her voice full of awe.
I'm getting goosebumps from listening to it. She's amazing.
Yes, she is. I had been so consumed with revenge when I married her. I never took the time to get to know my wife. I kidnapped her, forced her to marry me, and then became obsessed with her. It was a rocky start for us, but it was our start, and we'd have a future, together. My eyes traveled to the audience. Isabella wasn't the only one transfixed and lost in the music. Every single pair of eyes were on my wife, soaking up the music, except for Sophia Romano. Hers were full of hate as she watched her granddaughter. Raphael said Alfonso never showed up to the fundraiser. Cassio's voice was quiet. He might be here. I nodded in acknowledgement. How did I never see that my wife and I were on the same side? Was I truly that blind when it came to my beautiful, strong wife? The hate and animosity between Grace and her grandmother seeped out of both of them. Even when my wife talked about her grandmother or uncle when we first got married, there was never any love or affection in her words. Revenge blinds you, son. My father's words vibrated through my blood, and never a truer statement was uttered. Grace's fingers gracefully moved across the keys of the piano. From the short, tense interaction between her and her grandmother, it was clear she loved that piano. I would get that piano for her. It was the last thing I did in this life. The last tune of the song ended, and it was like watching Grace wake up from a dream. Her soft, dreamy expression disappeared and turned into a guarded expression. She met her grandmother's expression by tilting her chin up in a challenge. The young, gentle girl I picked up at the club almost 4 years ago was now gone. In its place stood a strong and resilient woman that would fight the world to protect those she loved. And whether she liked it or not, I would fight right alongside her. She was my family, my life, my everything. She might not need me anymore to survive, but I needed her and Matteo. I have a son. From the moment the realization struck, it was hard to grasp the meaning of it all. I would spend the rest of my life making it up to my wife and son. My father was right. Grace was innocent all along. Her uncle stepped up from the side, entering her line of vision, and my wife's shoulders barely stiffened, but she held her own. That will be all from...
I'm not done.
Grace's eyes traveled between her grandmother and her uncle. Locking on her uncle, she remained seated. I could see on her grandmother's face she was furious, but Grace paid her no attention. All Grace's attention was on her uncle. The whole room was quiet. Not even breathing could be heard.
This one should bring up memories, Uncle.
She spoke softly, undertone of sarcasm in her tone.
Remember how it started.
Her fingers started dancing across the keyboard again, the tones from the piano vaguely familiar. She didn't tear her gaze from her uncle, her expression daring him to say or do something.
Is that Listen to Your Heart by Roxette?
I heard Isabella ask Vasily Nikolai of her husband in a hushed tone.
That's kind of an abrupt music genre switch,
She muttered. She was right. Now that she said it, I recognized it. But what was the meaning of it? Why was Grace watching her uncle with such defiance, while he stared at her like he wanted to murder her?
That was her parents' song.
Ella whispered.
It was the last song her mother performed before Alfonso had her parents killed.
Shock vibrated through me, and I heard Isabella's soft gasp. I would kill her uncle with pleasure. He should have been a dead man a long time ago. I saw Alfonso step closer to my wife, and it took all within me not to reach for my gun. I didn't need to look to know my friends felt the same. But Alfonso Romano, while snaking around like a dirty lizard, didn't physically threaten. He had a sneaky smile on his pale, small face accented with black, beady eyes. Sofia Romano and Alfonso Romano shared their features. Thin, pale, dark hair and beady eyes. Same sneaky, backstabbing personality, too. The only difference, one wore a skirt and the other wore pants. They will both be dead before the night is over, I vowed, for the pain they caused my wife, my mother, my sister, and my father, and to protect my son. Alfonso's lips barely moved, but there was no mistake that he whispered something to my wife. Whatever he said had Grace's jaw clenched, and the music stopped mid-song with Grace slamming the keyboard cover down and covering the keys. Every single pair of eyes in the room were on them with anticipation. The air stilled, hushed gasps echoed, and the room fell silent. It was a grim kind of silence that led to a moment that would mark a catastrophe, like pulling out my gun and shooting that fucker Alfonso clear across the room and starting a full-blown war. Grace stood up from the piano stiffly, her eyes never wavering from her grandmother and uncle. While the latter two kept artificial smiles on their faces, Grace's expression was stoic. She wouldn't give them the pleasure of faking anything. My wife had grown a spine and spread her wings. She neared her grandmother and spoke into the microphone, her eyes locked on the man and woman that should have protected her but instead sold her out.
Thank you for letting me play for you.
Grace's soft voice boomed through the microphone.
My grandmother decided generously to have my mother's piano transported to my husband's place, instead of burning it to ashes.
She paused, letting the meaning sink in.
Isn't that wonderful? We should give a round of applause.
Grace's voice dripped with sarcasm, but the audience either ignored it or didn't pick up on it. I really like your wife. Vasily Nikolaev deadpanned. Oh, this is nothing. You should see her hit list. Cassio chuckled, half serious, half joking. I believe Alfonso and Sofia Romano, along with the King family, are at the top of that list. Smart woman, Nico chimed in, and I could hear a smile in his voice. Ignoring them all, I watched Grace disappear behind the heavy plush red curtains. What's back? Turning to face Ella, I realized she was gone. Where's Ella? I questioned Massimo.
God damn it,
Massimo gritted.
Why is it that those two always sneak away without being noticed?
Probably because they're good at it, Alexei answered unperturbed. Can you all split up and keep an eye out? The Romanos better not touch one single hair on my wife's head. I'd tear them up limb to limb. Go find your wife, Cassio uttered. We've got this. I rushed towards the curtain that Grace disappeared behind, but the room behind it was empty. A large backstage had a single wooden chair placed by the window and nothing else. I rushed across the wooden floors towards the single door. They had to go through it. There was no other way out, either through this door or back through the ballroom. The door took me to the back of the hallway, the marble back stairs leading to the staff area. The waiting staff was busy going back and forth, not paying attention to the fact they had a stranger hanging out in this area. It told me it probably happened often. While the front of the house shone, the servants' area was darker with lifeless colors, It reflected Romano's disregard for those lesser than themselves. At our house, we often spent time in the kitchen along with our staff. They're pretty much part of our family. The sounds of the staff working bounced off the bare walls, the sound traveling both ways. An older woman, with wrinkles and pain etched on her face, passed me by for the second time. She threw me a curious glance but said nothing. Years of training and fear, I presumed. Do you see Grace, the Romano niece, pass by here? I asked her. Recognition flashed in her eyes, and her eyes darted around us, as if she wanted to ensure nobody was around.
They went to the back gardens and through the maze.
Thank you.
I can't find a sign of them.
Massimo's voice reached behind me and the woman paled. You have nothing to fear from us, I assured her. If you want to leave this place, we can help. She nodded her acknowledgement.
Help Miss Grace first. Miss Ella, too. They don't deserve what Mrs. Romano has in store for them.
I intended to. Both Massimo and I rushed through the back door, while Massimo sent a quick message that the ladies were somewhere in the back garden. The second we stepped outside, I spotted the maze and ran towards it. I wore a tuxedo, but I always combined every outfit with combat-style shoes that would allow me to run. I never depended on my men to protect me. We protected each other. The green bush of the entrance into the maze was empty, but a shred of black material hung ripped on one of the branches. They took her this way. Up close, the hedgerows are roughly 8 feet tall, a perfect manicured green maze with the lingering scent of the last days of the summer. The maze would be my path to my prize, my wife. I would find her, protect her, and cherish her with my last dying breath. On the second turn, both Massimo and I came to a halt. Alfonso Romano waited for us with 10 guards at the second turn into the maze. That piece of shit was expecting us. His gun raised, he pointed at us and his men mimicked the movement. Fucking coward, always hiding behind his men.
Not a step further, Vitale, he spat out, or your wife will get a bullet into that pretty skull of hers.
You lay a finger on her, I gritted, and there is nowhere on this earth you can hide. I'll burn this world down till I get my hands on you and kill you, you fucking piece of shit. His beady gaze glanced at his men to ensure they were still there. Yes, you piece of shit, better pray they don't leave you. He was a dead man. It was only a matter of time. Massimo and I both had our guns trained on Alfonso and his men. 11 against 2. I had worse odds before. I would pull through, only to save my wife. A gun echoed in the distance and a woman's scream pierced through the night. Without another delay, both of us drew guns simultaneously and started shooting.
Chapter 24. Grace. Fear rattled my bones. I had never felt so scared before. Not when my parents died, not when my husband pointed the gun to my head, not when Ella and I ran away in the dead of night with nothing but the clothes on our back, fake passports, and $10,000 in cash. These men my grandmother planned to hand us over to would not be kind to Ella and I. They waited 4 long years for us, stoking their anger and thirst for vengeance. A shiver ran down my spine with fear of their plans. I had no doubt their plans for us were to inflict pain. Hit, beat, brand, rape. Death would be more merciful than this.
Get a move on, putanas.
One of the guards snapped as he shoved both Ella and I forward. My grandmother's laugh chilled me to the bone. Don't mind him, girls, she chatted in her raspy voice, result of years of smoking. Marco King is eager to have you, Grace, and Ella should fetch a nice price, too. Luciano Vitale will destroy you, Ella hissed. You nor Marco King were able to find us. Grace's husband did. He will find her and kill. Her threats were cut off by a slap on her face and a mocking laugh. I wrapped my arms around her waist, pulling her closer to me. That wasn't necessary, I scolded my grandmother. I'd think you'd want us to look our best for your human auction.
Move faster.
One of the guards barked. I didn't bother looking behind me to see who it was. It didn't really matter. We started walking, or risked one of us getting another slap. I snaked my free hand under the slit of my dress to reach for the gun I tucked under there. Ella hid my movement with her body. Every inch and each second ticked loud in my ears, bringing us closer to the doom. Suddenly, without a warning, I halted my step. Ella followed my lead. I whipped around and met my grandmother's gaze head-on, the cruel, dark eyes on me, without an ounce of regret for what she was about to do. Can I end a life? My hand, with the small gun hid behind me, pressed against the tall bush. Above me, stars flickered over the horizon of the night sky. The moon shone over the dark sky, giving me a clear view of what I had to do. She took 2 steps towards me. Her small frame shouldn't have been threatening, but years of her dishing punishments made my body instinctively stagger backwards. Stop delaying the inevitable, Grace. You'll be put up for auction to the highest mobster bidder, and Marco King will outbid them all. He has been waiting for you for a long time. 3, 2, 1. From the back, I brought my arm forward and raised it with a firm grip on the gun, just like I was taught in our class. Don't hesitate. Keep a firm handle. Shoot. Without delay or another thought, I pulled the trigger. Click. My grandmother's piercing scream colored the night, and she swayed, tumbling down onto her side, her face planted into the dirt. Very metaphorical. Before I could ponder on the morality of my actions, I pulled the trigger again, this time hitting one of the guards. And again. I'll think later about the fact I hurt someone. Right now, I was thirsty for revenge and driven by the need to survive. I felt an arm wrap around me from behind. My eyes widened, panic surged through me, and I started kicking. I saw Ella do the same thing from the corner of my eye, but I couldn't twist my body enough to elbow him before I felt a prick in my neck. My whole world turned black. The silence and pitch blackness were the only thing that registered. My eyelids were stone-heavy. I kept them shut, focusing on my breathing and listening for any other noise I could possibly zero in on. I felt weak, like I had been run over by a car. The fog in my brain started clearing. I heard a small whimper, like one from a wounded animal. Is someone crying? And then, sounds of the waves crashing against the shore. Why did it smell different than our little villa? I couldn't hear any Italian words carrying on the breeze like I usually could. The smell of the sea was vaguely familiar, but I couldn't place it. It wasn't Italy. I kept my eyes shut too long, my brain and thoughts distorted. What was the last thing I remembered? The haze in my head made it hard to recall the events before I went to sleep. Finally mustering enough strength, I forced myself to peel my eyelids open. The second I did, a severe headache shot through my temples. Through a blanketed, cloudy haze, my vision slowly cleared. Darkness clouded my sight, and waves of nausea hit me. I closed my eyes, focused on my breathing, and forced the bile in my throat back. Concentrate on your surroundings, the facts. Peeling my eyes open again, a glimmer of the moonlight peeking through the small window highlighted the outline of the room. I focused on the moonshine, waiting for my brain to clear the fog sloshing through my thinking process. Every corner of the room was enveloped in darkness, the moonlight unable to reach them. The room was warm, too warm, and a metallic smell invaded my nostrils. A small part of me recognized it, but my brain was too slow to register it. Blood. Squeezing my eyes shut, I forced myself to remember how I got here. Anything from before. Ella and I left the house, Luciano arguing with me about my outfit. Cassio was there too. They both wore tuxedos. The gala. We went to my grandmother's fundraiser. I played the piano and my uncle showed up. He threatened to have Roberto blow up Luciano's mansion with his father in it unless I went with him and Grandma, quietly. He didn't mention Matteo, but my grandmother hinted to my little family. They knew about Matteo. I had no choice but to go with him or risk Matteo and his grandfather being killed. Memories flooded back in a rush, and the choking fear was the only emotion lingering in my veins. Ella and I were hustled through the maze. I pulled the trigger on my grandmother. I killed her. I think. I hope so. Man's hands around my throat, against my mouth, sharp prick into my neck, the pain, Ella's screams. We were trapped, like a moth against the blinding light, except this light would kill us. Ella and I have been living on borrowed time. Hushed murmurs penetrated my brain. I tried to move, but my body felt too heavy, like I had been drugged. My heart thundered painfully, my skin felt clammy and cold, my head pounded. Soft murmur and whimper. A painful grunt escaped my lips, and I twisted my neck in the direction of the soft voices. Grace. Soft whisper. Gabriella. I blinked back my tears and forced myself to keep my racing heart together. She is alive. Frantically, I searched for the familiar face. I could hear her, but I couldn't see her. I scanned the darkness, and that's when I spotted her. Ella's small body slumped in the corner, her arms around her knees, her face pale and cheek bruised with long, messy blonde hair surrounding it. My chest squeezed. Ella was here. She was still breathing. Although right now, I wished both of us were dead. What awaited us was worse than death. I squeezed my eyes shut again, my body tired. Maybe this is a nightmare. Grace, please wake up. A whimpered voice. I forced my eyelids open and found Ella's honey gaze on me. We had to be strong. Oh my gosh, she cried softly. I was so scared. You've been out for so long. I opened my mouth to comfort her, but my throat was so dry, no words came out. Here, take a drink. She crawled over to me, twisted, and reached out to a single table in this prison of ours. Bringing a glass of water to my lips, she whispered, "Open your mouth." I did as she requested and sipped down some water. Where are we? I rasped the question. Benito King's men, goddess. Do you remember? I closed my eyes again. Yes, I remembered, but I wished I didn't. We were so stupid. Made ourselves wide open for my family's taking. My temples pounded so hard, making this headache unbearable. At least my grandmother is dead. Too bad we didn't kill my uncle, too. But he stayed behind when we pushed through the maze. I heard them say that your uncle is dead, she whispered, as if she heard my thoughts. Luciano killed him. Relief. My uncle was dead, and my husband finally got his revenge. And hopefully my aim was deadly when I shot my grandmother. If only Ella and I didn't have to pay with our own lives. More water, please, I asked. I took another gulp, and then another. Finally, I sat up, ignoring my pounding headache. Slowly, the events that led us here cleared through my brain. Ella and I in the maze with my grandmother, me shooting her, the guard attacking. There were too many of them. Where are we? I asked again. I don't know. Ella had an expression of fear. One of the men put a needle into your neck. You lost consciousness, but we didn't spend a lot of time in the car. I think we are still close to New York. I glanced around me. I had to find a way out of here. We would not spend the rest of our lives under any mobster's thumb or as his income. We were in a closed room, a metal door locking us in. One single window. It was the only weakness in this room. My gaze slowly shifted back to Ella, and as we stared at each other, I could only see them in my mind. My husband, my son. I had to see them again. Life couldn't be so cruel to end us this way. Could we escape through the window? Ella's honey-colored eyes lowered, and I followed her gaze. They stripped me down to my underwear and bra. My head snapped to Ella, and I just now noticed she was stripped down to her undergarments too. Besides, we are really high up, she muttered. All the years, and Benito King's men had finally gotten their dirty paws on us. Benito, just like my uncle, represented all that was evil. To me, he was the face of evil. He'd sell his soul to the devil as long as he got what he wanted. These men didn't care who they hurt in the process. How many women had these men hurt? How many daughters had they killed? The screams and cries echoed through the hollow hallway, and both of us instantly tensed. My gaze shot to the locked door, watching it and praying it remained shut. A shiver ran through me, whether from the cold or the terror I could hear in those high-pitched screams, I didn't know. I pulled Ella up next to me and we both cuddled up, sharing body heat. How long was I out for? I whispered my question. Most of the day. Have screams. I couldn't finish my question. Yes, from the moment we arrived. Ella looked weak and tired. I didn't want both of us to sleep in case... She swallowed. In case someone came. I nodded. It was what we did those first few months when we roamed Europe all alone. We never slept at the same time, so we wouldn't make ourselves vulnerable. Try to get some sleep now, I whispered, pulling her arm around my waist and welcoming the extra heat. You need the rest. She laid her head onto my lap, and I sat like a statue, staring out the small window, a glimpse of the freedom so close, but so far away. I wasn't beyond crawling through it and running down the street in my underwear. If I had to choose between that or being sold, I'd pick the former. Ella's eyes shut, and her breathing evened within 5 minutes. I waited, listening to her breathing while I stared at the dirty concrete walls, then the dirty ground. It was all dirty, like this whole transaction that my family participated in. My parents were dead because they tried to protect me. They refused to hand over their daughter as some kind of fucked up sacrifice to the mobster gods. I had never been bloodthirsty, but now I wanted to kill them all. I killed a human being. How did someone move on from that? It stained your soul, whether you wanted it or not. It was the main reason why I only stuck to laundering money during our time in Europe. That was bad enough. But now I added killing to my repertoire. It felt like the walls were closing in on me, making it hard to breathe. I didn't want to die. I knew that for certain. Ella and I were thrown into this whole mess, not of our own choosing. We shouldn't have to pay the ultimate sacrifice. We have to survive somehow. We ran away once. By sheer luck, we escaped unscathed. It would be a miracle to get lucky again. My throat choked with the knowledge I wouldn't see my son grow up, or Luciano age. I turned my gaze out the small window, the only illusion of freedom, and stared out at the full moon. The chill in the air made the room smell moldy, but I ignored it. Instead, I focused on the bright moon and the sounds of the night echoing throughout. I recalled a similar reflection of the moon mere weeks ago, while Ella and I sat on the balcony of our little villa. The reflection against the surface of the waves, the constant sound of the waves crashing into the world. It was so peaceful. We ignored all the problems so we could enjoy that little piece of heaven. Please keep him safe, Luciano, I whispered to the moon. That was the main thing that mattered to me now. My son would live to grow up into a good man. My uncle and grandmother were dead. There were no threats from my family anymore. My eyes lowered to Ella and her curled-up form. I wished she'd escaped, maybe stayed behind in Italy. It was her best chance at survival. We both knew the moment we stepped foot in the U.S., it was only a matter of time before the Romano family or the Kings got their hands on us. As Ella slept, the only company left were my memories. I refused to think about the bad before we faced the horrors. I would hang on to the good memories, both with Luciano and our son. That moment Luciano and I crossed paths, my entire world shifted. Yes, the bastard pulled a gun on me, but I couldn't even solely blame him. It was the result of grief after his own mother's and sister's untimely death. Maybe I should have shouted at him that I was pregnant, told him my family was out to get me and hurt me as much as him. But I didn't. So maybe we both fell short. We created the most beautiful life, our Matteo, and all the pain was worth it. I just hoped Luciano got the letter I left with the lawyer by now. I wish the window was bigger. I'd rather jump out of it with a slim chance of freedom than remain locked in here and live. This window to freedom was cruel. It was like tempting a thirsty man with a glass of water, but keeping it out of his reach. My heart beat against my ribcage, each pump with Luciano in my blood and Matteo in each shuddering breath I took. The night breeze swished through. The fresh air welcomed. It made Ella's body shiver, but my skin felt hot, tight, too stretched. The wait was agonizing. Not knowing what comes next was excruciating. I gently shifted Ella's body and covered her with the flimsy, dirty blanket. It would seem it was all we were good for. In 2 quick strides, I was at the window and the vast horizon stretched. And that's when I saw it. The familiar scene. Grandfather Astor's tower. That's where we were. I hadn't been back here since my parents were killed, but I'd recognize it anywhere. How did we end up here, of all places? The cries of the women traveled up the house, and I hated the fact that my grandfather's home had been turned into something so vile. But it could play in our favor. I knew this house inside out and every single inch of the 10-acre beach property. The secret passage. It was our ticket out. If we can get out of this room, I could get Ella and me to the secret passage, and we'd run. My heart thundered in hope and excitement. I debated whether I should wake up Ella and tell her about it, but then decided against it, just in case the walls had ears. As if on cue, the door of our prison cracked open.
Welcome, my lovely ladies.
A man with pitch-black hair and dark, soulless eyes entered the room, along with a woman and 3 guards. I glared at all of them as I quickly strode to Ella and sheltered her with my body. "Fuck you!" I spat at him. "This is the shittiest welcome I have ever seen." He chuckled, like I just gave him a compliment. And who in the hell are you? I had a suspicion, but I needed to be sure.
I'm Benito King, my darling.
He beamed with pride.
And you, my little bird, have been causing some serious trouble.
I'd say I'm sorry, I muttered. But my parents taught me not to lie. He grinned with malice.
Oh, yes, my son Marco will have so much fun breaking you. There is fire in you that even makes my cock hard.
Terror shot through my veins, but I made sure it didn't show. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. I'm surprised at your age you can even get your cock hard, I taunted. It was stupid, but it was my only weapon at this moment. His cheeks colored red in ugly blotches. Good. I pissed him off. The next instant, however, my cheek exploded in pain as the guard's hand struck across my face, hard. I staggered backwards, the back of my knees hitting the bed, and I fell next to Ella. She instantly jolted up and wrapped her hands around me. My cheek burned from the impact, and I felt like my entire face was in flames. My eyes stung, but I refused to let any tears fall, not for this motherfucker, not for his despicable son.
I see we'll have to teach you some manners,
Benito murmured, his eyes gawking over my almost naked body. I have never been so glad to have opted for full brief underwear instead of a G-string. My strapless bra was slightly lacking, but it was better than nothing.
A word of advice, my little bird.
It was on the tip of my tongue to tell him to fuck off. I wanted no advice from him. Instead, I held the words back. There was no sense in taunting him. We wouldn't be able to run if they physically beat us, making our bodies too weak to move, and I had no doubt these men were not beyond that.
You are slightly damaged goods now, both you and your friend here.
I sensed Ella's distress without sparing her a glance.
Behave, and maybe we'll get at least some pleasure from this whole ordeal.
My body shivered in disgust. Ella stood behind me, her whole body rigid. She was scared, and so was I, but both of us kept our composure. We had years of practice. "What do you want?" I asked him angrily.
Tonight, we are hosting a party.
He chuckled, although I failed to see the humor.
Auction, really, but it's a marvelous party for my men.
I wanted to spit into his evil face.
You two will be ushered to bathe.
He wrinkled his nose as if disgusted at our state of appearance.
To prepare you for the auction that starts in 3 hours. Make yourself presentable. Clothes will be brought in for you and your friend.
What's the point of making us presentable? I questioned. If you are only going to humiliate us.
Because if Marco is unwilling to marry you, you will become his whore to do as he pleases.
He smirked, a menacing smile on his face.
It is in your best interest to look your best so that he will marry you.
What? But I'm already married.
We have a way to fix that.
I swallowed hard. What did that mean? I was scared to ask, but I did it anyway. How? My voice was breathless, every inch of my insides shaking with fear for Luciano.
Divorce, my little bird? Well, more like annulment.
He drawled.
After all, I heard you and your husband are on your way to annul your little fling anyhow. Or we'll just kill him.
Annulment it is, I thought, with my heart wrenching. I needed my husband alive to care for and protect Matteo. Without another word, he turned around and left us with the woman and guards. The heavy silence enveloped the room, the meaning of his words a conviction that was written in my stars the moment I was born. Oh my God. Ella whimpered under her breath, but the room was so eerily quiet the guards and woman could clearly hear it. It will be okay, I told her. I was surprised my voice sounded stronger than I actually felt. The chances of escaping were slim, but I refused to lose hope. We wouldn't stop fighting. Benito King had something coming to him if he thought we would just sit down and take whatever this fucked-up world wanted to dish our way. The woman that had been tasked with getting us prepared for the event watched us with pity, but there would be no help coming from her. From each breath she took, every movement and look, I could see she was a broken woman. She had probably endured a lifetime of abuse and wouldn't risk more. Not on the account of Ella and I. Not that I could blame her. "Take them to the bathroom. They will need to bathe," she ordered the men, and for the next few seconds, Ella and I stood, watching guards as they came in and surrounded us, like we were hardcore criminals and a real threat. I watched them wearily, hoping they wouldn't be the ones standing guard while we bathed. "Just stay close to me," I murmured under my breath, so only she could hear me. "You and I will probably be the last two to be put up for sale." It was only speculation. My gut feeling was telling me that since we escaped and managed to slip through their fingers, they'd keep us for last. Either damaged goods or highlights of the show. They walked us down the hallway and into the large bathroom, where 2 large porcelain tubs full of steaming water waited for us. Both Ella and I stood frozen as we watched men walk in and out of the bathroom till there were only 2 left. "Okay, you 2 ladies get in the bath," the woman instructed. I glanced behind me, glad to see her with us. She was less of a threat than these men. "And please don't try anything, otherwise Julio here," she pointed to the guard, "will make things really uncomfortable for you. And there are 3 other guards outside the door." There was no doubt that wasn't an empty threat. "Can we keep our undergarments on while bathing?" I hated that we even had to ask, my pride rebelling at the idea of anyone having any kind of control over what I should or shouldn't do. The woman nodded, but no sooner I felt the relief, the guardian interjected.
"No. Boss wants them cleaned in detail, their pussy and all."
"We are not cars," I protested angrily. What kind of bullshit was this?
"Either you take it off and get in, or I put you in myself."
He threatened, and I was sure he meant it. "Well, can you turn around? Or get the fuck out so we can do it in privacy?" I retorted with a false bravado. "This isn't a strip club." He growled and took a threatening step forward. Ella and I took one backwards. "Enough," the older woman intervened. "Julio, you turn around and send your other boy to keep watch outside the door. Benito won't be happy if they are late." The shadow of fear crossed his face, and that was more telling than anything else. They were all scared of the man. Following her demand, I waited for his fellow guard to leave and Julio to turn around. Then, sharing a look with Ella, we both stripped our undergarments, swung our legs tentatively over the tub edge, and then lowered ourselves into the tub. I could also imagine the 2 of us were having a spa day, if only there weren't guards around us. The door creaked open again, and my head snapped in its direction. A young woman with midnight hair entered. She didn't meet our gazes, her own eyes trained onto the floor. The bruise coloring her left cheek didn't escape me. "Wash their hair," the elder woman instructed. "Start with the blonde one." "We can do it on our own," I murmured, but both women ignored me. The young woman went straight to helping Ella duck, and then lathering her hair with the scented shampoo. The conditioner followed. Her motions were efficient but gentle. It told me she had done this many times. I wondered who she was. Whose debt was she paying? It hurt my heart to imagine what kind of horror she must have endured in this world to be stuck here. After she was done with Ella, she efficiently moved to me and repeated the process. My eyes stung and burned. I wanted to stretch this moment forever, but things were being done too efficiently. While the young woman washed my hair, I watched Ella being pulled out of the tub, patted dry, and then dressed up. Like she was some kind of doll to be put up for sale. We are being put up for sale, I thought wryly. Ella's honey-colored eyes were locked on mine, as if she drew strength from me. Or maybe I was drawing strength from her. I wasn't quite sure. The older woman handed her dry undergarments, while Ella gripped the towel tighter, keeping her body covered up. I caught the guard leering at her, enjoying the peep show, and fury rose inside me. Wasn't it enough we had to endure mobsters? Now we had to put up with idiots like that. "Can't he turn around to offer us some privacy?" I asked in an exasperated tone. The old woman must hold some status, because she nodded his way, and without a word, he turned back around and faced the door. Ella quickly stripped down her wet towel and pulled on new undergarments. I stood up from the tub, and in quick movements dried out with the help of the young woman and did the same. The moment dried undergarments were on, I quickly wrapped another dry towel around me, waiting for Ella to be done. And good thing, because no sooner had I secured it around me, the guard turned around. Asshole was hoping for a free show. A maroon ball gown cascaded down Ella's body, accenting all her curves. She looked beautiful. Her blonde hair and golden skin from our time in Italy, accented by the red colors.
"Red is reserved for courtesans."
The guard's gleeful voice had my heart instantly sinking. I wasn't sure if looking beautiful was the best thing right now.
"Unless someone buys you for their own pleasure."
But she is not married. I objected without even thinking, not sure why I bothered. It wasn't as if this damn event even made sense.
"She is not a virgin."
Jesus, neither was I. This was the 21st century. Someone should really educate these assholes on feminism.
"Damaged goods,"
he added. He gave me a look that told me he considered both of us damaged goods. What an asshole. I'd love to punch him in the face. Not kill him, but freaking punch him and make him bleed. Maybe also kick his balls. Turning my back to him, I looked at Ella. She was pale and shivering from fear, her eyes wide on the guard. All the while, both women worked on her hair and makeup. "Don't listen to him," I whispered, tugging her towards me. "It's going to be okay." I took her face between my hands and forced her to look at me. I portrayed calmness, but it was thin ice, just a front that could easily crumble at any moment. One blast of heat and it'd be gone. But she needed it. I needed the illusion of it. No amount of years could have ever prepared us for this. We knew the deal for years, since our first year of high school, to be exact. In my case, this price was on my head before I was even born. But they were mistaken if they thought I'd take it lying down. I would fight them every single step of the way. "Ms. Romano, it's your turn." The dressmaker lifted another gown, and my heart stopped. "I want a red gown. I'm damaged goods too," I breathed out. I would rather wear red than this. The silver elaborate gown was my mother's. She wore it at her engagement party to my dad. The lavishly embroidered design from the waist down made the gown unique. It was one of a kind. I still remembered the painting that hung in our family room. My mother and father looked like a fairy tale couple at their engagement. I always begged her to let me wear it, and she promised that one day I would, for my own engagement party. "I was instructed to have you wear this." "No," I whispered. "Please, no."
"Either you put it on, or I put it on you."
The guard chimed in, his tone threatening and cruel. There was no doubt he'd deliver the threat, and enjoy it too. I itched to get my hands on a weapon and just kill him. I was never a violent person, but I was quickly becoming one. I wanted to draw blood, make them pay for touching my mother's stuff. for putting their filthy, blood-infested hands on them. And on us. Please turn back around so I can get dressed in privacy. He glared at me, his black eyes full of detest and hate.
You think you are better than the rest of us, but soon you will find out.
At least he did turn his back to me. With the lead in the pit of my stomach and my heart squeezing in my chest, I dropped the towel onto the floor and stepped into the beautiful silver gown. I felt my bottom lip quiver and bit into it. Instead, I focused on Ella. We can do this. We'll survive this. As if she knew what I was thinking, she nodded. Both ladies pulled the elaborate gown up my body, and one of them started buttoning the platinum buttons up my back. Never in a million years did I think I'd wear my mother's dress to be sold off, like some whore, to be property of a mobster. Bellissima. The word uttered by the old woman was spoken softly, but it hit wrong. I didn't want to look beautiful. Not for these cruel men. Not for this cruel underworld. She spoke something to the guard, but words didn't register. I just focused on Ella, my mind working through different scenarios on our escape plan. We just needed a short window, and we could take the secret path, run and never look back. 2 guards came back with a large, heavy, full-sized mirror. They placed it in front of me, and suddenly the reflection stared back at me. My mother's reflection. The bodice of the silver gown hugged my bust, the strapless, elaborate dress accenting my breasts and pale, slim neckline. The dress shimmered on me. Even the poor lighting in this room couldn't take away its sparkle. With her expert hands, the old woman pulled up my hair into a loose bun with curly strands framing my face. No makeup for me. Please bring the tiara from Mr. Romano. It has been in our safe for the past 4 years. He really thought of everything. What a cruel, twisted mind my family has. A short minute, and my mother's platinum tiara, sparkling with diamonds, rested on my head, like a heavy crown. I'd give it to these people. They managed to transform me into an innocent, fragile-looking temptress. For the Romano bell to fetch the highest price, I thought bitterly. But I was neither innocent nor fragile. Not anymore.
Chapter 25. Luciano. Death comes for us all. I've watched hundreds of men die. Some I've killed, others were killed by my enemies. Some I remembered, others I didn't. Some deserved it, others maybe not. But this one did, many times over. Alfonso Romano's body lay at my feet full of lead, full of bullets. Some from my gun, some from Massimo's, and some from Alexi's. You good. Alexi's Russian accent was thick. Needless to say, this man wasn't his favorite. He tried to get his dirty paws on his half-sister. Cassio and Luca still fought Alfonso's guards, and as the shots of bullets flew through the air, the fear dug its claws into my heart. For the first time, I tasted fear of death. Fear for her, my wife, Grace Vitale. It was an unfamiliar feeling, but the pain was razor blade sharp. If Grace died, the death would claim me too, because she had taken a big piece of me. I raised my gaze off the dead body of the last Romano male and watched Cassio aim a gun execution style at the last standing guard. I continued down the maze, my footsteps rushed and silent as I weaved my way through it. Keep Grace safe. Keep Grace safe. The gunshots sounded off too near. Another scream, a woman's. That's Ella! Massimo's voice portrayed the terror I felt. Why didn't I hear Grace's voice? My boots hit the ground running, our movement silent and deadly. I couldn't run fast enough. I'll kill anyone who touches her. I'll burn this world to the ground if anyone hurts her. With my hand on the gun and my finger wrapped tightly around the trigger, I ran ahead. My wife's name echoed in my brain with every step, with every heartbeat. As soon as we got to a clearing, my step faltered. Sofia Romano's body, lying motionless on the dirt ground, her blood tainting the earth. 2 other dead bodies spread across the small clearing. And that's when I saw it. My wife's nude pump. The crushing of my chest felt like a physical punch as Massimo let out a ragged breath. "What the fuck happened here?" Alessio and Cassio asked at the same time. The gurgling sound came from Sofia's mouth. Taking the 2 strides to her body, I bent down on my haunches. Where is my wife? I watched the woman gurgle on her own blood, choking on it. Let her choke on it, after I get my answers. Her fingers reached out to me and gripped my shirt.
Help me.
She was fucking nuts if she thought I'd ever help her. All the pain she caused my family, and now she took my wife, threatened my son. But I kept my emotions in check. I needed answers. Where is my wife? I repeated. If you give me a good answer, I might spare you. Glancing down, I watched her desperation and the will to live move her thin lips. I never said I'd let her live, but I'd spare her choking on her own blood. Her lips moved, her voice faint as she tried to give me the answer. I dropped down into the dirt, my knees digging into it, my face leaning close to hers. I could smell blood on her breath. Where is my woman? I snarled, shaking her. Where is she? Luciano. Cassio kneeled down beside me, his hand on my shoulder. I turned to meet his gaze and found him holding out a needle. The rawness. It shattered through me, dragging me under, drowning me. The drawing inside my chest spreads, clawing the hole deep and burying itself into its darkness. Grace was my light. Grace is my light. I need her. Our son needs her. Nono needs her. We need her. You fucking bitch, I hissed. Where is my wife? Or I swear to God I'll keep you alive so I can torture you over and over again for the rest of your miserable life.
She shot me.
Her voice was barely audible. My Grace, my sweet wife? She shot her grandmother. I bet you deserve that, Vidma. Alexei spat out, his towering frame nudging her legs, kicking them around like the piece of trash she was. He looked like a fucking psychopath, or an angel of death towering over her like that. He called her a witch, which she truly was. Where is my wife, you bitch? I shouted into her face. She and Alfonso cost my mother's and sister's lives. I wouldn't allow her to take my wife from me too, the mother of my son. What happened to her?
Benito,
She rasped faintly.
Aster Michaus.
Stilling my jaw, I lifted my arm and aimed my gun at her head. Rotten hell, I told her coolly and pulled the trigger. Her body slumped into the dirt. Quick death was more than you deserved. I slid my Glock back into its holster and turned to face the men. Connecticut, I told the group. That's where they took her. Grace and Ella are in Connecticut. Hold on, Grace. I'm coming.
Chapter 26. Grace. My head throbbed with pain, but I ignored it. I couldn't afford to show any weakness. These people would exploit it. Ella and I kept close to each other, her hand in mine. I refused to have us separated, no matter what. After we were adequately prepared for the auction, like we were some kind of animals, 5 guards surrounded us and ushered us back into the hallway. My heart thundered, recognizing every inch of it. But with 5 of them surrounding us, there was no room for escape. Even so, I refused to give up. The hallway here was dark. Ella's and my heels clicked against the stone floor. My heartbeat was frantic, and I didn't have to ask my best friend to know hers was too. I swallowed past the lump in my throat. Think about Matteo, focus on opportunities to escape, think about Mateo. The hallway ended, and large stairs led to the floor below. No matter what, I uttered in a hushed voice, don't let go of my hand. With a jerky nod, we slowly descended the stairs, our fingers intertwined. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Our heels echoed through my Grandpa Astor's beach mansion, and that's when I saw them, waiting for us like some sacrificial lambs. Benito King, Marco King. Both men made of the same cloth. Cruelty was their middle name. They relished in it. The word was that both father and son had a thing for redheads. I should have left my hair brown. Then, a loud whistle traveled through the large foyer, and I realized there were about 15 men there waiting for us. How did Grandpa's estate become this? My eyes locked on the most dangerous man in the room. I ignored the rest of the crowd. I clenched my jaw tight, hearing some cruel words thrown our way. The runaway Bellas. Whore Bellas. Vitale's whore wife. Ella's whimpering registered through the ringing in my ears. Be strong, I whispered, barely moving my lips. Stay with me. All the while, my eyes remained on the two cruelest King members. The gleam in Benito King's eyes didn't bode well for me. The closer we got, the rowdier the crowd.
Damn, for that piece of ass, I'm willing to forget she's Vitale's bitch.
But I'm not. I'll always be his. The words were on the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed them back. I had to keep a lid on my temper, observe, and wait. That was the only plan I had. If all failed, I'd run from them in plain sight, let them shoot me. It was better to die than be subjected to their abuse. Once at the bottom stair, the guards barked the order for us to stop. Benito King strode over, his steps leisured, like Ella and I were here of our own free will.
Miss Romano.
He greeted me, ignoring Ella completely. His choice of greeting didn't escape me. He still wanted goods, damaged or not. Fuck. The urge to close my eyes was strong, but I fought it. Show no weakness. Show no fear. But the fact of the matter, I was scared shitless. It took all I had not to start shaking and whimpering like Ella. That's when I saw him. Roberto, standing behind Marco King, that fucking bastard. Ella saw him at the same time because a shocked gasp escaped her. When we ran, I told her I thought it was him, but I had no proof and I hadn't seen him since we got back. Apparently, he was still around. I'll add him to my kill list, I thought wryly. Benito noticed my glare at Roberto and chuckled.
I see you met your cousin.
He gleamed. My eyes snapped to the old devil in confusion. His laughter filled the room.
Roberto Romano is your cousin.
My jaw dropped onto the ground. That one I would have never guessed.
He's Alfonso's son.
Ella and I shared a desperate look. Roberto Romano would continue the Romano legacy. We didn't kill them all. Would he go after Mateo? Benito's eyes returned to me and roamed over my body with appreciation and cruelty.
You clean up nice, Miss Romano. You will indeed make a lovely bride. A queen fit for the king.
My eyes darted to his son, who was right behind him. These two were crazy. Marco was no king, and I would never be his queen.
What do you think, son? Redhead beauty and enormous fortune. What is there to say no to?
Marco chuckled, like he just said the funniest joke. Except nobody but him was laughing. Fucking idiot. If he thought he'd ever get his dirty fingers on my fortune, it was long gone. He must have thought me an airhead, stupid little girl. Let him think that, though, and when they least expect it, I would strike. Benito King wrapped his disgusting hand around my waist and turned around to stare at the crowd. Thank God he was on my right side, so I still kept Ella on my left.
It is unfortunate that Alfonso Romano lost his life. As you all know, the beginning price for Miss Romano was set to $1 million.
I gasped at the stupid amount of money. These men were idiots. Please don't bid. Maybe if nobody bid on us, we could escape the clutches of these two lunatics. My heart immediately sank as a hand went up, then another, and another. 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Benito King chuckled.
I knew you'd be the hit.
10 million!
Someone shouted. 11, 12, 13. Then it finally stopped.
You have superseded the price of the last 4 auctions combined.
Marco bragged.
You were worth the wait.
Ella and I shared a glance. I could sense desperation rising in her just as I could feel my own.
15 million.
Benito announced.
I have decided to make Miss Romano my bride. What?
Marco hissed low, so nobody else could hear him. It didn't matter, though, because his fury was written all over his face. I thought you were married already. The words escaped me.
I have a mistress, but she won't interfere.
He chuckled, like he just said the most entertaining joke.
Your husband and son, on the other hand, we will have to take care of that.
Then he chuckled, displaying his yellow teeth.
Roberto will take care of that, won't you?
I kept my face stoic. I couldn't show any emotions to these people. I knew men like Benito. They relished in destroying what people loved, just like my grandmother, just like my uncle. I have to kill Roberto. It finally made sense why I saw Roberto in my mom's dressing room backstage alongside my uncle. My lips pressed tightly together. I held his gaze. He wanted to see me react. Well, he had another thing coming. I wished he'd hold his breath waiting for my reaction. My back stiff, I refused to even blink. He finally looked away, bored expression on his face as his eyes shifted to Ella.
Now, what to do with your friend?
He pondered, although the damn bastard already knew. He kept waiting, hoping I'd say something. I squeezed Ella's hand, biting my tongue. Do not show any emotion. Just like my grandmother, he would destroy what I loved and cared about.
She can be mine and my son's courtesan.
Greedy bastard thought he won.
What do you say, Marco?
What the fuck ever.
He muttered.
How about Grace Romano be my courtesan? She was supposed to be my bride.
But Daddy got greedy. The pathetic loser should learn to get himself a girlfriend the old-fashioned way, and his father should be executed. On second thought, every single man in this room should be executed. Theatrically, Benito King addressed the crowd, bowing down.
And this concludes bells for the evening.
Disappointing grunts echoed through my grandfather's home.
This is bullshit, Benito.
One of the mobsters complained.
You had us come in the dead of night just to witness you getting the Romano bride.
You bid 13 million, right?
Marco interjected.
I did.
The man puffed his chest, when in fact he should probably hide somewhere for being so stupid to offer such a ridiculous amount of money for a woman. These men were pathetic, every single one of them.
Well, considering my father's short attention span,
Marco continued.
You can have her next, for half that price.
The room broke out into laughter at my expense.
How about a quarter of that price?
He negotiated.
After Benito is done with her, she'll be broken. I just want to dip into Romano pussy before my life is over. Obviously, there won't be another one in my lifetime.
More rowdy laughter. The blind rage shot through me, and before I knew what I was doing, I found myself next to the man and slapped him hard across the face. The smack vibrated through the room, and not a single peep sounded. Or maybe I couldn't hear it because blood pumped through my veins like a damn roaring river. The mobster's hand snaked around my neck, clutching, blocking my airway while I struggled for oxygen. My hands clawed at his hand, but he was too strong.
Enough.
Benito's voice vibrated through the room like a cannon.
Do not damage my property.
The mobster's hands instantly let go, and I gasped for air. Kill them. It was the only thought that echoed. Kill them all.
Guard, escort the two women back to their room.
Benito's voice penetrated my brain.
The other is damaged goods. She can be part of one of my brothels.
Over my dead body, Benito King. The fury was an ugly beast inside me, but I let it ignite, let it spread. With Ella's hand clenched in mine, we climbed the stairs, one heavy step after another. The beautiful gowns we wore hid the ugliness of the situation. It fit the mobster world, though. They hid their ugliness with flash and glamour, but beneath it all, these men were rotten. I glanced behind me and noted only one guard accompanied us. My neck hurt from the earlier encounter, but I ignored it. It wasn't time to be feeling pain. This could be our chance at escape. We had to take it. It might be our only chance. I glanced at Ella and mouthed silently, "Follow my lead." We kept walking. A few more steps and we'd be at the top. I knew our room, our cell, was on the left, but I feigned confusion and took a right. The guard's hand wrapped around my wrist.
This way.
And I let my body instinctively apply the years of self-defense classes. I twisted my body inward and gripped my hands on his forearms with all the strength I could muster. To stay alive, to see my son, to see my husband. The sound of the bones snapping caused bile to rise in my throat, but I ignored it. His wail sounded off, and I knew there were more guards after us. I kicked him in the balls and shoved him down the marble steps, sending him off tumbling. I didn't stay to watch him fall. I grabbed Ella's hand and headed for the secret passage. "Run, run," I muttered to myself. "Where?" I ignored her question as we came to the end of the hallway, faced by the stone wall. "It's a dead end." My hands frantically palmed the rough surface of the old tower, looking for the ledge. "Come on," I muttered. "Please, come on." The rough stone cut into my soft palm, but I ignored it. That pain was nothing compared to what Benito King would have in store for us. We had to run. "Here it is," I whispered victoriously. I pulled the ledge, and the wall shifted. "What the—" I quickly pulled her inside the wooden landing and pressed the ledge on the inside and watched the wall shift back to its place. "How did you know about this?" Ella questioned in a hushed tone. "It was my grandfather Astor's place," I whispered my response. "Be careful down the stairs." I kicked off my heels, and Ella did the same. In silence, we took the ladder spiral staircase, lowering ourselves one at a time. The second we were both on the ground floor, I took her hand, and we squeezed through the small wooden door, which led us onto the sandy path. The cool ocean air hit my face, the smell of the salt tingling my nostrils. Freedom! It had never tasted so good. And Ella and I had been caged birds quite a few times. Sharing a glance, we both lifted our long gowns and started running. The cool air burned my lungs, the sensation welcomed. The moon was full, lighting our way down the beach. With heavy footsteps, we kicked the sand with each stride. Run! Don't stop! Run! Our breathing quickly became labored. Our heartbeat raced in fear and exercise. Crashing of the waves mixed with distant voices, but it was hard to tell. Were they just innocent passers-by or enemies hunting us? I risked a glance over my shoulders. "Fuck," I muttered. Roberto was on our tail, along with the guard that gawked at us in the room while we were getting changed. More men ran behind them, the whole mobster squad eager to get their hands on their prize. Ella glanced behind too, and her step tripped over the gowns, having her falling down onto her knees, sand burrowing into her kneecaps. I quickly pulled her up, both of us losing precious time. "Run, Ella!" My gown was too heavy. I should have kicked it off me before we stepped onto the sand. It was too late. We just had to keep our pace for another 2 miles. We can do this. My breathing labored, but the adrenaline kept me going. Ella wheezed, struggling to catch her breath. I kept pulling her along. "We're almost there." I breathed hard. "Keep running." She wasn't accustomed to running. I didn't particularly enjoy it either, but I had never been so glad that I made myself jog for the past 12 months. Sweat trickled down my back, and no amount of cool breeze from the ocean would soothe this heat. My grip loosened, and my long gown dragged on the sand. Before I could fist it and raise it above my ankles, I stepped on the hem of the dress and in slow motion watched as the world tumbled in front of my eyes. "Don't stop, Ella!" I yelled. "Run!" "No! Run!" I screamed. "Go get help!" I scrambled to get to my feet, painfully aware of Roberto gaining the distance. "Run, Ella!" A sob escaped her. "I'll get help, I promise." She kicked her feet into a fast pace and resumed running. "This dress," I muttered, struggling with its weight, lifting it up and started running. Roberto was almost at my back, the awareness tingling on my neck, and not the good kind. "Please, God, don't let them get me." No sooner had the thought left me, I felt a man's hand grab my dress and pull me back. The sudden motion had me losing my balance and falling flat onto my back. The impact took my breath away, causing stars to swirl in my vision.
"Fucking bitch,"
he muttered breathlessly, his knee pressing on my chest. I couldn't breathe, the heavy weight of him pressing down onto my chest. "Let go of me!" I screamed, thrashing under his weight. His fist connected with my face, causing stars and pain to burst behind my eyelids.
Such a little princess.
He growled, his knees forcing my legs apart.
You think you're so much better.
His hand grabbed my pussy through my dress, and sheer terror shot through me. "What are you doing? You are my cousin."
Shut the fuck up.
He hissed on a growl, his face twisted with rage. "Don't touch me!" I yelped, my voice raspy from shrieks, burning my throat. "Stop!" I screamed and cried, shaking my head. He leaned over, his strong frame keeping me in place. His knees nudged my legs further apart, shoving his hand up my dress.
I'm gonna have so much fun fucking you,
he said, licking my ear. "We are related by blood," I cried. What was wrong with this guy? "Others are coming." I attempted to use any excuse to get him to stop. His evil, ugly laugh echoed through my ears.
I sent them all in the opposite direction. I'll fuck every hole just like the putana that you are.
I spit into his face. He slapped my other cheek, ringing in my ears, making it hard to focus. His big hand grabbed my pussy, yanking on my panties. Roberto Romano is crazy, a sick psychopath. How could he even contemplate this? It was a whole different type of twisted. It made bile rise in my throat. Tears burned in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not for this miserable loser. Disgust was thick in my stomach, and despite the pain throbbing through every single inch of my body, I kept fighting him. Warm, sticky liquid trickled down my nose. Blood, I realized. The sound of my shredding panties cut through the night, and I cried out. Then I shrieked at the top of my lungs as tears poured down my face. I lost the battle. While holding me in place, my back down against the sand, he used his other hand to unbuckle himself and freed his cock. "No!" I screamed. "No!"
Stay still, bitch.
He growled.
or I'll fuck your ass raw.
I kept kicking, hard and relentless. I didn't care if I came out of it black and blue. I scratched and bit, screamed and thrashed. Just as I thought I had lost, his whole body lifted off me. I blinked my eyes, watching him dangle up in the air in confusion.
You are dead.
My husband's voice was a dark promise, a menacing growl.
Chapter 27. Luciano. It took us 2 fucking hours to get out of the damn city. I checked on my father and son. They were safe.
Bring her home, son.
My father loved Grace as his own daughter. We have been family all along, but I was too blinded by rage to see it. Now I knew and wanted to make it all better, enjoy the rest of my life with her, have more babies, see Mateo grow up to be a good man, and he would, because he had his mother in him. I'll bring her home, Pa, I promised. Stay safe and inside with your grandson. It still felt surreal. Lorenzo will keep the compound safe. As soon as I have her, I'll bring her home. She'll want to see our son safe and happy. And I'd make her happy, like I was supposed to be making her happy from the moment we met. Once we got to the old Astor beach house, I waited for our men to gather. It took another 2 hours for everything to be put in place. We surveyed the house, found the best angle for the attack, and armed up to our teeth. We didn't know how many men were inside. We were going in blind. From the outside, there were no signs of life, but I had no doubt they were all there. How in the fuck did her beach house from the Astor side of her family become an auctioning place was beyond me. It didn't matter, because it ended right here and right now, tonight. Heading towards the house, using the shadows of the night as our disguise, I spotted a figure of a woman stumbling, running through the sand. I realized who it was the same moment Massimo shouted, "Ella!" All of us picked up the pace, running towards her form. My eyes scanned the area. Where was Grace? Where was my wife? Those two always stuck together. She threw herself into Massimo's arms, sobbing uncontrollably.
Grace.
She tried to get her words out, her tear-stained face causing dread in my stomach. Where's my wife?
Help her. Roberto has her.
Where is she? I demanded. She immediately turned around and started running in the same direction. Without another word, we followed. And that's when I saw her, laid out onto the ground fighting that fucking bastard. Roberto had his hands on my wife. Rage shot through me, giving me added adrenaline and fury. We arrived not a moment too soon. The terror of my wife's screams chilled me to the bones. The rage shot through my brain, and seeing her small form kick and thrash down the beach, Roberto's fist connecting with her face. My feet kicked harder, ran faster. My hand was raised, the gun pointed at Roberto, but I couldn't pull the trigger. Grace fought him, and the thought of shooting her by accident terrified me. Fear is a part of us. I heard my father's voice. It means we have something valuable. I roared in rage, seeing Roberto unbuckle his pants, trying to rape my wife. Only the blind fury and love for my woman pushed me forward. Before he could thrust inside her, I grabbed him by his neck and lifted him off her small body. You are dead, I shouted a promise, dangling him up in the air. Grace scurried backwards, her knees coming up to her chest, covering herself up. My eyes locked with her violet gaze, taking her state in. The purple bruise forming on her eye, her cheek colored black and blue, blood running down her nose. Did he rape you? I rasped, my chest squeezing in pain, seeing her small body shake.
No,
she stuttered, tears streaming down her face. Here, take my jacket, Cassio offered. She shook her head, scooting away from him. She sobbed and my fucking chest hurt. It physically hurt to see my strong woman like this. Cassio remained at a distance, but extended his jacket to her again. Her hand shook as she took it. I turned my furious gaze at Roberto. She is your fucking cousin, I growled. Still a piece of ass, he spat. My fist connected with his face and a cowardly yelp escaped him.
Kill him, Luciano.
She muttered, her gaze locked with mine.
And make it hurt.
I looked at Alexei and Luca. Go see if you can find any of those bastards left. My voice was hoarse, shaking from the rage. And kill them all, any of them. The two took off, ready to start the massacre of those bastards. My eyes shifted back to Roberto and dropped him down, letting him fall down onto his knees like the dog he was. My fist connected with his face, over and over again until my knuckles were raw. I'll kill you slowly, I promised darkly, holding his stare. There was so much adrenaline pumping through my veins I could dish out punches all night. I'll cut you into the tiniest of pieces and scatter you all over this bloody planet. A saint won't be able to put you together. I drove my knee into his stomach, pulling out my knife. He bowled over with the impact into his gut, and it gave me a perfect angle to grab his hair and shove his face into the sand. I pressed it hard against the granular material, hearing him choke on it. As he struggled unsuccessfully against me, had me grinning with satisfaction. Nobody touches my woman, I hissed, cutting his cheek open. Nobody touches my family. Blood gushed out of it, smearing all over his face, mixing with sand grains. His arms flailed, reaching for anything to grab a hold of, but there was nothing, only sand grains. You fucked up, I growled, my murderous rage blinding me. I shoved my knife into his neck, where his main artery kept him alive, and watched him gurgle, choking on his blood, and I never delighted more in the sound of a man dying. My woman. I let go of his body, and he collapsed sideways into the sand, the blood soaking into it.
Luciano.
My wife's soft voice snapped me out of my rage, and I turned to find her watching me. Fuck. I kept showing my ruthless side to my wife. It wasn't exactly a way to get her to stay with me. I had to take care of her first. She didn't need to see all my cruelty and ruthlessness. At least not now. But with our gazes locked, instead of fear, her eyes glimmered with something else. She raised her hand, reaching out for me, and I rushed to her side, wrapping my arms around her. And then sobs won out and her small body shook as she buried her face into my chest. It's okay, tesoro, I murmured. I'm here. I'll always be here. My hand clumsily rubbed her back, staining her dress with blood. They killed for her. But right now, nothing mattered more than making her feel better. I'd clean her up later. I'd give her anything and everything she needed. Right now, I'd comfort her. I raised my head and met Cassio's eyes. He shook his head. Benito and Marco King were still on the loose. His eyes traveled to my wife's shaking form, worried edged on his face. He was familiar with the gut-wrenching pain of watching your woman almost getting raped. My gaze shifted to Luca and Alexei. Massimo already took Ella back to the car. She was barely holding herself together. I couldn't fault him for taking care of his woman. Thank you, I told them all. All three of them nodded in silence, watching my brave, strong wife fall apart in my arms. Shh, I murmured. I got you.
Chapter 28. Grace. My whole body jolted out of bed. My breathing labored. I struggled to catch my breath, my eyes darting around looking for anyone lurking in the dark.
Shh, it's okay. I'm here.
Luciano's voice penetrated through the fog, and his face came into focus.
You need to rest.
He watched me with love, his hands gently wrapped around me. Am I dreaming? Matteo, I rasped out, my voice cracking. Ella.
Ella's safe. She's with Massimo. Matteo's safe.
He whispered.
I just checked on him. Our son is safe.
I blinked my eyes. Our son.
Roberto is dead. So are his father and grandmother. Matteo is safe. So are you.
He leaned forward and placed a kiss on my lips.
I love you. Grace Vitale.
I love you too. But words refused to leave my mouth. So much has happened since we first met, so many ugly words and memories. My chest felt tight, like someone pressed on it with weights. As if he could read my thoughts, Luciano reached out and took my hand into his. Please, Luciano. He stopped me.
Please, Grace, don't leave me.
My eyes flared, trying to understand what he was saying, but my brain was too slow.
I fucked up when I doubted you and put a gun to your head.
I flinched at the memory.
It was empty, but that doesn't justify it.
Empty? I whispered, my voice shaking.
Yes, I emptied all the bullets. The gun was empty.
He lifted my hand to his mouth.
Grace Vitale, I love you. I loved you back then, and I love you now.
You do, I rasped.
I do.
He confirmed.
I was blind and furious, thinking you chose your uncle over me. I was blind, not seeing the real you, but I still loved you. I wanted all of you. There hasn't been a woman for me since you left.
I must have looked stunned, because he continued.
I swear on my mother's and sister's graves.
He croaked.
The gun was empty when I pulled the trigger, and I haven't had another woman in my bed. I tried, I won't lie, but all I could see and smell was you. It made me sick to be with any woman, so I gave up and searched the world for you.
The room went silent, his confession heavy in the air. I loved him too, but fear held me back. The gun was empty.
Yes.
His forehead leaned against mine.
You're my life, Grace. I was an asshole. Your words telling me you loved me didn't sink in till I sat in our bedroom that night alone in the dark. But those words will forever be part of me, engraved in my heart and soul.
I wanted another chance with him, didn't I? I wanted my happily ever after, my own fairy tale. I stared up into his hazel eyes that always pulled me in, the eyes that I lost myself in again and again, the eyes of our son. There hasn't been anyone else for me either, I told him, my admission raw. It made me feel vulnerable. I love you, I whispered. Our mouths connected and our kiss was desperate, his lips devouring me like I was his oxygen. Eventually, Luciano pulled back, both of us breathing heavily.
My wife.
Yes, I was his wife. He was my everything.
My strong, brave wife.
I don't know about that, I muttered. I was scared. Both Ella and I were. I thought back to the struggles as we roamed Europe, worries about Matteo, hiding from him and my family. Were they wasted years? For naught?
You are brave, and I don't deserve you.
He took my face between his hands, his lips brushing against the tip of my nose.
But I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. You gave me a son, named him after my father, even after I fucked up majorly.
I loved you, I told him simply. And I still do. I didn't betray you. I'll never betray you. But I can understand your anger. My family cost you a lot.
But that wasn't your debt to pay.
I had to agree with him there. Fresh start, I murmured.
Yes, fresh start.
He agreed. I have to tell you one more thing. We might as well lay it all out on the table. He waited, tense. I have been laundering money. I won't do it anymore, but you should probably know. Just in case some shit follows when I give my notice. Though to be honest, I kind of liked it. I peered at him through my lashes. I wouldn't mind continuing it as my little side hustle. Maybe we'll become competitors. His booming laugh filled the room. I wondered what was so funny.
I know, my little ghost, because I'm the ruthless king.
My eyes widened at his admission. What?
I just found out. You were the ghost a few days ago.
He pressed a feather-like kiss against my mouth.
My little criminal.
My lips curved into a smile against his. I had the best teacher.
Epilogue. Luciano. 1 year later. Our home backyard was draped in silence, and we listened to the priest's words blessing our baby girl. Our little Francesca Aria Vitale, named after my mother and Grace's. Dark hair framed her little face, matching her big brother's and mine. But it was her eyes that had everyone falling all over themselves. She had her mother's beautiful eyes. My wife. I'd never get sick and tired of saying those 2 words. She cradled our daughter in her arms, her small body leaning against mine. I studied my wife's rosy cheeks, and ginger-red hair strands flying with the light breeze. This woman was my beginning, my middle, and my end. She was my whole life. This family, blood and non-blood, was what this life was about.
You're staring at me.
She whispered under her breath, so only I could hear. You love when I want you. And her wide smile was my confirmation. I'd never tire of watching her soft smile and happiness on her beautiful face. The christening ceremony for our new addition was perfect. Nono and Matteo practically shone like light bulbs. My father must have taken some kind of reverse aging cream, because I swore he looked better and younger each day. He swore it was happiness and our family. Vasily and his wife, along with their 1-year-old son, were here with us, as well as Alessio, Nico, Luca, Alexei, and Raphael. The priest called for the godfather to step in. I was surprised when Grace suggested Cassio for the godfather, knowing her aversion to the King family.
He's your best friend.
She murmured.
Ella is my best friend. She is Matteo's godparent. It's only fair your best friend is Francesca's.
Needless to say, Cassio was shocked as well. There might have been a slight resemblance of a tear in his eyes. I wasn't sure. Grace gently handed our daughter to Cassio and smiled.
Protect my baby,
she joked. With my life, he vowed, and I knew he would. As the priest recited the verses, my wife's hand found mine and our fingers interlocked. Her eyes were on Francesca, watching her like a lioness. She protected the ones she loved with all her might, and it made me love her even more. May Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit bless you, Francesca Aria Vitale. The cheer sounded off, and Grace's proud smile breathed life into my chest. No matter what life had in store for us, she would always be my rock, my flame. Francesca's tiny body looked even smaller in Cassio's arms. He looked like a big bear worried about hurting its cub. I couldn't help but chuckle at the sight and laugh when my father snapped the picture of the 2 of them, and Cassio warned him he'd wake up the baby. I nuzzled my face into my wife's neck, inhaling deeply. Her scent always calmed me, grounded me.
You know, husband,
She whispered.
we could sneak out for a little romp.
My chest shook with the laugh I was trying to hold back. Though her words always managed to surprise me, I wasn't going to bring attention to ourselves. I was all about rutting and romping my wife. I married an insatiable woman. I gently nipped her earlobe.
But you love it.
She murmured.
And I love you, Luciano Vitale.
I love you, mio tesoro, from the moment I spotted you.
All the way then, huh?
Yes, my love. This woman could single-handedly bring me to my knees. You are mine, Grace. You've been mine from the moment you took your first breath, and you'll be mine when you take your last breath.
This has been Luciano, Bells and Mobsters Book 1. Written by Eva Winners, performed by Lily Drake and Walker Williams. Copyright 2021 by Winners Publishing LLC. Production copyright by Winners Publishing LLC. Production coordination by Pink Flamingo Productions.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.